Hello everyone. Today we're starting the story of JaeJu, a skillful orphan on a mission to save his beloved orphanage from closing. While trying to raise funds, JaeJu stumbles upon a video of himself climbing a mysterious tower as a streamer. Intrigued and puzzled by this footage, he sets out to investigate only to discover that he has no memory of the climb. As he streams his climb, JaeJu quickly gains a massive following due to his incredible skill and ability to defeat powerful monsters with ease. His meteoric rise to fame, however, doesn't go unnoticed. Other awakened individuals, feeling threatened by his newfound popularity, start to see him as a serious competitor. It's like suddenly becoming the most popular kid in school and realizing everyone wants your lunch money. JaeJu finds himself in the middle of a whirlwind of dangerous alliances and epic battles against formidable adversaries. With each step higher up the tower, he must navigate these treacherous waters, uncovering the secrets of his mysterious past and forming unexpected friendships along the way. But before we delve any deeper, please leave a like as today's like goal is 1,500 likes to hit the subscribe button for more videos. So let's start the story without any delay. The story begins with JaeJu having a cup of coffee with the manager of the orphanage where he grew up. She tells him it's admirable that he has secured a job, especially since it's been so tough to find one lately. She points out that since he has never gotten his hands dirty, unlike the others, he will excel in whatever he does. Blushing, JaeJu mumbles a modest response, conveniently omitting the fact that the supermarket CEO took a liking to him. The manager sighs, thinking how great it would be if the other guys had a heart like him. JaeJu, sensing something is amiss, asks the manager if there is a problem. The manager, with a weary sigh, confides that the director's health is declining, and since the orphanage is a private organization running on their own funds, the director's retirement would mean losing their primary source of funding. This would lead to the orphanage facing closure within 3 years. This news plunges JaeJu into a deep depression. The thought of his home shutting down is unbearable, like losing his favorite pair of socks. JaeJu stands out as the model child in his orphanage, living up to the name bestowed upon him by the director. JaeJu means skillful in Korean, and he wears that name like a superhero cape. He navigates life with skill, securing a respectable job at a supermarket, bagging groceries like a pro, while his fellow orphans continue to struggle. JaeJu knows he could never earn enough to save it through conventional jobs. In this world, the only quick way to make substantial money is by becoming an awakened. And let's face it, becoming an awakened sounds way cooler than bagging groceries. JaeJu searches the internet for videos about becoming rich quickly. He stumbles upon an interview with 2 awakened individuals who, with a twinkle in their eyes, share that the biggest change in their lives was the influx of money. They also mention something called papoi, but leave it at that, keeping the mystery alive. 7 years ago, towers appeared out of nowhere, snatching people up at random and pulling them inside. Those chosen by the towers had to endure its trials, and only a few managed to return to the outside world. What happened inside the towers remained a well-guarded secret, as everyone who came out stayed tight-lipped about their experiences. These returnees, now known as the Awakened, possessed mana, the most valuable resource in the world. And let's be honest, mana sounds way cooler than a lottery ticket. Magic engineering is the most important discipline in the world, and only the Awakened with mana can perform it. As a result, they are highly sought after, with companies willing to pay ridiculous sums to hire them. JaeJu, intrigued, wonders if there is a tower somewhere nearby that he could conquer. While he's contemplating this, he suddenly receives over 500 files, all indicating that he has cleared certain levels and gained followers. Suspecting they might contain viruses or be attempts to hack him, JaeJu tries to delete the files. However, in his haste, he accidentally opens one. To his surprise, he finds a video of himself streaming from within a tower. JaeJu can't help but think, well, this is either a dream come true or the weirdest phishing scam ever. In the video, JaeJu is visibly shocked as he learns from the comments of his streamers that he is stuck in the tower. The present-day JaeJu, watching the video, goes through all the clips one by one. He realizes that it really is him clearing the tower. He also encounters a monster named papoi, which looks like a cute furry ball but has sharp teeth capable of chewing through rocks. The videos detail the various challenges and rewards in the tower, providing crucial advice on what decisions he should make. In that moment, JaeJu has an epiphany. These videos are from his future, sent to the past to guide him. No one talked about what was inside the tower, so there were no training manuals or reference materials. But JaeJu had all the inside scoop straight from his future self. Determined to be ready, he signs up at a gym to get in better shape. The portal is set to open in 2 years, and JaeJu plans to be stronger by then. He works his job diligently, while studying the videos in his spare time. 1 month before the portal opens, JaeJu quits his job, though he's anxious about whether the videos were just a big misunderstanding. His doubts are soon erased when a portal suddenly opens in his room, sucking him in. Inside, he gets the option to choose the tower's difficulty level. JaeJu, never one to shy away from a challenge, chooses high difficulty, aiming for the best rewards. He may be thinking, go big or go home. JaeJu wakes up in shock inside a cave. Checking his screen, he learns that his first trial will start in 1 hour. JaeJu is already familiar with the trials and the whole streaming setup. It is revealed that the awakened still in the tower can watch the newcomers' performances and interact with them, and if impressed, they can even reward them with coins, and whenever a newbie they rewarded reaches a milestone, they also get coins as a reward. It's like the ultimate reality TV show, but with monsters. JaeJu's first viewer is a user named The Love. JaeJu welcomes him by calling him Big Brother. The Love, amused by this unique reaction, decides to tip JaeJu and even follows him, recognizing that he's a sharp lad. Clearly, charm and wit go a long way, even in the middle of a life-and-death trial. Being followed gave additional benefits to the newbies. However, each person could follow only one newcomer at a time and had to unfollow them before choosing someone else. There was a grand reward for anyone who gathered 100,000 followers that is very helpful towards their tower climb, adding an extra layer of competition and excitement. JaeJu soon attracts more viewers, especially since he selected the hard difficulty, because why take the easy route when you can show off? As the viewers start rolling in, they warn JaeJu that something dangerous is coming, though they can't specify what. It's like getting a weather alert that says it's going to be bad, but we can't tell you how bad. It turns out among the viewers there's someone called the admin, who has the power to kick out viewers or even the streamers if they don't follow the rules. It's like having a strict hall monitor in the middle of a chaotic game. The admin is the reason the truth of the towers remains hidden from the world. As the trial begins, 3 small portals appear in front of JaeJu. Expecting something like kobolds, he is surprised to see that his first opponents are 3 popoi, admirable yet deadly creatures. Many viewers, upon seeing JaeJu encounter the popoi so early, leave assuming he will meet his end soon. JaeJu, ever the strategist, acts dumb and asks the remaining viewers for more information about the popoi. The viewers, seeing through his act but unable to resist helping, tell him all about their defenses and weapons. It's like a live-action video game tutorial, but with more at stake than just losing a life. JaeJu knew that the popoi never attacked first and realized they were wary of him. He decides to mimic their behavior so they don't see him as an enemy. He starts circling the mana stone along with the 3 popoi, blending in like he's part of their dance troupe. The Love, who is considering following another streamer, is surprised to find JaeJu still alive against the 3 popoi. Shocked, he sees that JaeJu has become a part of the popoi group and tips him again, sending a voice message. The popoi ate everything with a high concentration of mana, and the mana stone was like a gourmet meal for them. This stone is used to create magic items and serves as an energy source for various mage engineering. Whenever they find a rare food, the popoi hold a special ritual, especially when it comes to mana stones. However, for these alert creatures, whenever they have a stranger nearby, they hesitate to perform their eating ritual. Instead of diving into their feast, they circle around the food, searching and waiting, which often keeps their practices hidden from most people. However, after much effort and persistence, JaeJu is finally accepted by the popoi. They invite him into their ritual, and together they begin devouring the stone. It's like being invited to an exclusive dinner party, but with more magical rocks and less small talk. The viewers go wild when JaeJu joins the monsters and starts eating the mana stone. To his surprise, the stone is actually edible. It is not that hard, and it melts in his mouth like chocolate. It is refreshing and tasty and fills him with energy. His body begins to glow just like the popoi after they're full. The viewers brace themselves for what they think is the end for JaeJu as the popoi surround him, but instead of attacking, they climb on him and become his friends. The trial is cleared, leaving everyone in the viewer list completely shocked. The system notifies him that the pathway to the second floor is opening. JaeJu feels a surge of happiness, but is also utterly exhausted from devouring the mana stone. The sheer strain of the ritual takes its toll, and he shockingly loses consciousness, leaving his viewers on the edge of their seats. Fortunately, JaeJu quickly recovers. Startled, he wonders if he got knocked out. Seeing all the popoi gathered around him, he asks if they were worried about him. Witnessing his recovery, the popoi jump and make happy sounds. JaeJu taps one on the head, thanking all of them. The viewers are surprised and amused by this strange behavior from JaeJu. It's not every day you see someone form a bond with adorable yet dangerous creatures. Checking the comments from the viewers, he realizes he now has 127 viewers and about 58 followers, and has collected 258 coins, an impressive feat for the first floor. Looks like his unique approach has really paid off, making him an overnight sensation in this bizarre tower adventure. JaeJu thanks the viewers, who immediately ask him what he was thinking when he joined the popoi. He responds with a grin, saying that he figured he couldn't win against the popoi, so he decided to join them instead. After all, the trial was to eliminate the enemies, and what better way to do that than by making them friends? He just followed their lead and got lucky. The viewers, though skeptical, can't help but be amused by his explanation. The viewers remind him about the rewards, and JaeJu pretends he didn't already know about them. He opens a gift box and is surprised to find out that the rewards are different from what he saw in the video. Instead of a sword, there are rocks. He decides to look at them one by one, and first, he takes out the mana stone. It turns out to be a rare white mana stone instead of the usual blue ones. As JaeJu examines it, the poor Popoi jump at the stone, eager to eat it. However, he keeps it for himself, knowing the stone is worth 5,000 coins from videos he's watched, information not many of his viewers knew. The viewers guide him on how to check item information. The second item is a nickname change voucher. JaeJu isn't sure if the voucher will be useful, but he decides to keep it for future use, knowing it's a gift typically awarded at higher levels. The third item is a bag of money. Feeling a mix of excitement and curiosity, JaeJu pockets his rewards, ready for whatever the second floor has in store. JaeJu is about to leave for the second floor when the Popoi lead him somewhere unexpected. They start digging a cave, and JaeJu decides to follow them. The viewers are surprised as they don't know much about Popoi behavior. Crawling through the cramped cave, JaeJu feels like he's getting a massage rather than squeezing through tight spaces. As he makes his way, he begins to glow once again. He asks the viewers about this, even though he already knows it's the strengthening aura of a knight. He recalls from the videos he watched that on the 5th floor, he can change his class, with knight being one of the options, along with mage and magic engineer. It's like having to pick a major in college, but with way cooler powers and less student debt. Soon, JaeJu emerges from the tight tunnel and is surprised to see the Popoi gathered around a shining object. He picks it up and discovers it is a rare talisman necklace. Despite the Popoi getting angry, he decides to keep it. This necklace boosts the luck of its wearer and also has the ability to save them from certain death once, after which it gets destroyed. The viewers can't believe JaeJu's luck. It's like finding a treasure chest full of gold in your backyard when you were just looking for earthworms. JaeJu recalls using the necklace on the 15th floor in the video, where it saved his life. It's an item usually obtained after the 10th floor, but thanks to the Popoi, he got it on the 1st floor. The problem is that he got it way too early, like finding a cheat code before even starting the game. The love donates more coins and sends a voice message suggesting he put on the necklace. JaeJu wears it and hides it under his shirt, feeling a bit like a superhero with a secret power. He decides to head to the next floor, taking his Popoi friends with him. After all, who wouldn't want to bring along some admirable yet dangerous companions on a perilous adventure? The second floor is a coliseum with quotes engraved on the walls, probably something inspirational like keep calm and slay on. JaeJu has 10 minutes to prepare for the trial, where he must survive for 30 minutes to complete it. There are 2 possible enemies, either 2 sea serpents or 1 red bear. If luck isn't on his side, he'll face the red bear. JaeJu checks the shop but decides not to buy anything, opting to follow different strategies depending on which monster shows up. It's like planning for either a flood or a wildfire, but with more scales and fur. Immediately, a portal opens in front of JaeJu, growing bigger and bigger. The portal becomes so enormous that even a red bear would seem like a teddy bear in comparison. JaeJu and his Popoi companions are terrified when a giant turtle dragon emerges from it. The viewers are equally shocked and realize this must be why he got the talisman necklace so early. JaeJu decides he can't keep running away. He has to defeat the turtle to earn the hidden reward, granted only if the enemy is defeated. JaeJu buys a rare-grade weapon, Rita's one-handed axe, for 250 coins in the shop to fight the monster. The viewers are puzzled by his strategy, but JaeJu has a plan. He aims to get on the back of the turtle dragon, though he lacks the strength to do it immediately. Instead, he starts whittling down the turtle's defenses. The turtle dragon unleashes its lightning breath, but JaeJu dodges it easily, showing off his agility. Once the turtle dragon is injured, it retreats into its shell to heal. It's like playing whack-a-mole with a very large, very angry mole that has lightning breath. JaeJu takes advantage of the resting monster and climbs onto its back. The viewers try to warn him that it's not safe because the spikes on the turtle's back are prone to explode. Even the love sends a voice message urging JaeJu to get down, but right now he is too busy to be reading the comments. However, JaeJu is already aware of this and plans to use the spikes as a weapon. He breaks off one spike and pierces the turtle dragon's body with it, then pours mana into the spike to make it explode inside the turtle, critically injuring it. It is like turning the turtle dragon's own defense mechanism into a self-destruct button. The viewers are astonished and start wondering if the giant turtle dragon is truly dead. It's like watching a cliffhanger in a movie, everyone holding their breath to see what happens next in this epic tower adventure. JaeJu barely manages to evade the range of the explosion. He has taken a risky decision, but it ultimately paid off. He then approaches the dragon turtle and finishes it off. The mission is cleared, and JaeJu receives the hidden reward he wanted. The papoi eagerly want to eat the corpse of the dragon turtle, and JaeJu gladly agrees. However, the viewers are shocked by how he defeated a foe that typically requires 3 streamers to handle, usually on the 11th floor. JaeJu responds shamelessly and confidently, stating that he thought he could do it, so he did. It's like walking into a tough exam and coming out with an A+. Sometimes confidence is half the battle. JaeJu checks out the reward for clearing the floor first and finds another rare mana stone in it. Plus, there's a bag of 500 coins and a subspace backpack that can carry items up to 500 kilograms. The rewards are decent, but not extraordinary, except for the mana stone, so the viewers aren't too suspicious. Then he opens the hidden reward and finds a heroic upgrade rune that can increase the grade of any item by 1, up to the heroic grade. It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, with JaeJu getting one step closer to becoming even more formidable in his tower climbing quest. JaeJu starts feeling dizzy and weak from the battle and his injuries. The viewers urge him to go to the 3rd floor, knowing that streamers are healed every time they cross floors. Since he now has 100 followers, he gets the chance to choose a blessing from health, strength, agility, mana, and luck. Knowing the benefits of each blessing, JaeJu decides to choose the blessing of mana, understanding it would be helpful on the higher floors. No one knew about the blessings until they reached those floors, but JaeJu realizes it would be amazing for his plan to become a magic engineer. He dreams of becoming like the genius American battle engineer he has seen in videos, able to create wonderful weapons for himself. Without wasting any time, JaeJu crosses to the 3rd floor, and as mentioned by the viewers, he is completely healed. He now stands in the garden of a forgotten ancient god. The system window informs him that the 3rd trial will begin shortly. This trial involves defeating the sleeping guardians, and it promises to be challenging. The system warns him to be careful. If he leaves the ancient god's garden area, he will be permanently trapped on the 3rd floor. It's like playing tag with a twist. Step out of bounds, and you're stuck forever. Viewers start sharing their own experiences and concerns about the difficulty, adding to the tension. JaeJu, however, remains focused and determined, ready to tackle whatever the 3rd floor throws at him with his newfound mana blessing. It's like stepping into a tougher level of a game, but this time he's got the right upgrades and a plan to match. JaeJu ponders the challenging scenario and thanks his viewers for their donations. Suddenly, a portal opens near him, and a brown-haired boy in golden armor appears. This boy is also streaming, excitedly announcing to his viewers that he has successfully reached the 3rd floor. Both JaeJu and the brown-haired boy look at each other in surprise. JaeJu wonders if they are both playing at the same difficulty because this trial might require teamwork. Sweat drips from his face as the brown-haired boy extends his hand towards JaeJu, saying hello. JaeJu notes that the boy seems to have struggled a lot on the 2nd floor, judging by his trembling. JaeJu extends his hand as well, and they shake hands. The boy then grabs JaeJu like he's pleading for something, tears streaming down his cheeks, and asks if JaeJu is a streamer too. JaeJu confirms it, and seeing the boy's desperate state, asks if he had a hard time. The boy, realizing the oddness of the situation, quickly apologizes. JaeJu reflects that it makes sense since this is the first time he's meeting another human in the tower. The brown-haired boy, wiping his tears, admits that he doesn't have any experience. The viewers start commenting that this is the real newbie reaction, with one even jokingly wondering if JaeJu is a robot programmed for the tower. The boy then asks JaeJu about his name, introducing himself as Haeyeon Seok. JaeJu introduces himself as Kim JaeJu. Haeyeon Seok laughs, stating that it's a unique name. JaeJu responds that he hears that often. Haeyeon Seok then points at JaeJu and asks if the creatures on his head and shoulders are the papoi. JaeJu laughs and asks if the viewers taught him about papoi. Haeyeon Seok replies that yes, his viewers are going crazy, wondering why the papoi are there. He bends down a little to get a closer look at the papoi with intrigue. JaeJu explains that it ended up like this after the 1st floor. Just then, the floor starts to rumble, and 2 colossal guardians emerge. The guardians are giant stone statues, one wielding a spear and the other holding a shield. Haeyeon Seok is in shock, his eyes wide as he takes in the sight of the massive statues. JaeJu tells him they'll finish talking later as it's time for action. The guardians must be defeated simultaneously or they will recover. The eyes of the guardians light up red, and the guardian with the spear strikes the ground with such force that Haeyeon Seok is knocked down. While lying on the ground, Haeyeon Seok wonders where JaeJu is. Meanwhile, JaeJu with his axe in hand is rushing towards the giant guardian with the shield. The guardian with the shield smashes its shield down, aiming at JaeJu, but JaeJu dodges just in time. Now he finds himself behind the guardian with the spear, ready to launch his next attack. Without wasting any time, JaeJu swings his axe, his body glowing with mana as he unleashes his full power. He strikes the Guardian with the spear, breaking its leg. The Guardian with the shield tries to lift the fallen Guardian and is about to revive it. JaeJu knows he has to act quickly. There's no time to waste as the speared Guardian will be revived if he just sits around. He dashes toward the Guardian with the shield and attacks with his full force, breaking its back. Now both statues lay on the ground, defeated. It's like a high-stakes game of whack-a-mole where missing a beat means facing double trouble. Yeon-seok is impressed and approaches JaeJu, but one of the Guardians is still not defeated and begins to wake up. JaeJu quickly tells Yeon-seok to duck, but he's too slow to react. JaeJu jumps at him, saving him from the Guardian's attack. Both Guardians are completely revived and stand up once again. It turns out that the Guardian with the spear has thrown it towards them. Fortunately, JaeJu has managed to save Yeon-seok in time. Determined to finish the job, JaeJu decides to go all out and defeat both Guardians for sure this time. His viewers cheered him on as he becomes even more ruthless. With a renewed burst of energy, JaeJu runs towards the Guardian with the spear. He sprints up to its head, then jumps high and unleashes a powerful attack with his axe, breaking the Guardian apart. Knowing he cannot let it revive itself, he rushes towards the other Guardian statue. With no room to dodge, JaeJu decides to attack head-on. Summoning all his strength, he delivers a powerful blow, defeating the second Guardian as well. The trial is cleared, leaving Yeon-seok in awe and the viewers ecstatic. It's like watching an action movie where the hero saves the day not once, but twice, while everyone else just tries to keep up with the sheer awesomeness unfolding before their eyes. However, with the Guardians defeated, he wonders why a portal is not appearing and begins to struggle to look for it. The viewers laugh, amused that while JaeJu can defeat monsters with ease, he struggles to find portals even when they are right in front of him. They instruct him where to find the portal, and he starts walking towards it. Yeon-seok approaches JaeJu, wanting to talk, but JaeJu, eager to move to the next floor, quickly runs off, saying they can chat properly the next time they meet. It's like watching a superhero who can save the world, but still needs GPS to find his way home. JaeJu climbs up the stairs and finds a scroll that contains the will of the defeated Guardians. The scroll tells the story of an evil emperor of the Asteroid Empire. The crazy emperor rang the bell of triumph as he beheaded the young general that had returned. The reason was simple. He did not listen and fought on his own, so he was executed. The empire suffered greatly under this crazed ruler, and the Guardians longed to be destroyed to be freed from their duty. As a final piece of advice, the Guardians had written that the traveler reading this should never get on the nerves of the evil emperor. It's like reading a warning label on an ancient artifact, but instead of handle with care, it says, avoid evil emperors at all costs. JaeJu already knew that the message was related to what he would face on the 5th floor. Soon, the portal opens, but before entering, JaeJu decides to check the reward he received. The viewers guessed that since the difficulty had decreased, the reward would also be plain. JaeJu finds a bag of coins and initially feels disappointed, expecting a mediocre reward. However, upon opening it, he discovers it contains 5,000 coins, 10 times the usual amount. Before he enters the 4th floor, the viewers remind him about the Popoi, who aren't looking very good. JaeJu realizes he hadn't noticed their condition while he was busy fighting the Guardians. It's like finding a hidden treasure in a cereal box, but then remembering you forgot to water your plants. Time to take care of his tiny companions before moving on. The Popoi looks sick, and JaeJu realizes it's not because they're hungry. None of the viewers know anything about the Popoi or how to help them, but the love suggests JaeJu go to the 5th floor, where he might find something useful. JaeJu accepts the advice and prepares to leave for the 4th floor. Just then, Yeon-seok comes over to thank him. JaeJu smiles and tells him that if they get the chance, they should work together again someday because every hero needs a sidekick, or in this case, a partner in epic quests. JaeJu enters the 4th floor, which presents an intelligence test. He has to solve a 100-piece puzzle in 6 hours or he'll be trapped inside the 4th floor. Even though he has 5,600 coins and could buy food in the store, getting trapped would eventually lead to his demise. The puzzle involves tapping crystals that change color, and JaeJu remembers struggling with this in the videos and while learning the puzzle patterns. However, he had developed a trick to memorize the pattern by linking the colors to numbers. It's like tackling a massive jigsaw puzzle, but with the added pressure of a ticking clock and the looming threat of being stuck forever. No pressure at all. Surprisingly, JaeJu is able to solve the puzzle with ease. He touches the crystals like he's playing a rhythm game, making his followers wonder if he's even thinking at all. He completes the test in just 20 minutes, astonishing all his viewers. One follower donates 200 coins and asks if JaeJu is a certified genius. Not to be outdone, the love quickly donates 500 coins, ensuring no one can outshine his generosity. It's like watching a speedrun of a complex game and then seeing fans shower the player with donations and praise because everyone loves a prodigy. JaeJu checks the rewards and finds another bag containing 5,000 coins. He thinks that with this, he could buy the heroic grade skill book on the 5th level. Picking up the papoi, he steps into the portal for the 5th floor, while the viewers buzz about his impressive speed. They speculate that if JaeJu hadn't spent so much time bonding with the papoi on the 1st floor, he would be the fastest person to reach the 5th floor. The 5th floor is different from the previous floors. It takes the form of a story where streamers have to play the roles of characters within that narrative. The viewers are also unable to change the stream during the duration of the 5th floor trial, which lasts about 1 week. On this floor, there will be another streamer, and both streamers will become characters in the world of Astrode. There are 2 ways to clear the trial, either by reaching the designated ending of the story or by killing the other streamer within the narrative. It's like being dropped into an interactive novel where your choices and your rivals determine who gets the happy ending and who gets written out. JaeJu wakes up in a huge mansion, finding himself in the body of a red-headed noble boy. He reads the boy's diary and learns that this redhead is obsessed with magical beasts, much to the dismay of his father and older brother. As he keeps on reading, JaeJu finds out he is now in the body of the 2nd prince of the Astrode Empire, Kali du Torpax. In the story of Astrode, the 2nd prince Kali faces a grim fate. When his father, the emperor, discovers his secret, Kali is forced to burn the magical beasts he raised. Following this, he gets drunk and throws a tantrum on the roads, earning himself the less than flattering title of Wretched Prince. JaeJu's trial is to become the emperor in 7 days while possessing the body of the prince, and he cannot use violence to achieve this. JaeJu feels disheartened and disappointed by such an impossible task. He had always dreamed of becoming a magic engineer, but the system didn't let him choose. While preparing to select his power on the 5th floor, he wanted to pick magical engineering, which would have allowed him to possess the body of an important figure. In his case, the Imperial Engineer. He could have become other important characters if he had chosen powers like magic, strength, or assassination. But before he can voice his choice, the system assigns him powers related to magical animals. Instead, he finds himself in the body of a prince with a penchant for magical beasts and a title that doesn't scream Future Emperor. It is just his luck. Instead of becoming a powerful mage or a stealthy assassin, he gets to be a prince with a zoo. JaeJu decides that if reaching the goal is easy, he would go for it. Otherwise, he might as well take down the other streamer. Determined, he summons the servant named Fordrick, who had promised to supply him with magical beasts. Fordrick arrives having already procured the magical beasts. He presents them to JaeJu. JaeJu is shocked to find his papois in a cage, and they are still unwell. He can't help but think, great, not only do he has to become emperor in 7 days, but now he has to play veterinarian too. Fordrick explains that the papois had consumed too many mana stones, leading to their poor state. However, he is shocked to see mana radiating from the body of Prince Kali. Fordrick is worried as a sudden burst of mana could prove fatal, but Kali assures him that he is all right. As Fordrick is leaving, he warns Kali about the first prince mentioning that he has been doing suspicious activities lately. JaeJu thanks Fordrick for his concern and mentions that he will move the magical animals to the basement himself. He reflects that Fordrick is Kali's only aide. Fordrick was the guardian knight of Kali's mother, Empress Perdessa. He retired as a knight once the Empress passed away and became young Kali's dedicated aide. JaeJu reflects on how the magic stones had helped against the turtle dragon. Normally, he would be shaking in fear. For now, he just leaves those thoughts behind. He recalls Fordrick's words that the first prince's movements are suspicious and realizes he has to outmaneuver him within a week to become emperor. He realizes that while eliminating the competitor would be simpler, reaching the end has better rewards, as the diary suggests. He then moves a book revealing a hidden passageway that leads to the 2nd prince's special basement area where magical beasts are kept. He carries the papois cage and takes it to the basement. As he looks at the other animals, he realizes that instead of weariness or hate, they seem happy to see your owner. These are the magical animals that Kali keeps. He places the papois cage there and with a heavy heart, explains that he is leaving them there for their safety, as he cannot take them with him not knowing what will happen outside. He apologizes to his papois, feeling a bit like the world's unluckiest zookeeper. The viewers start commenting, urging him not to leave the papois there. JaeJu then opens the shop and wonders if he should buy a skill book for the papois. He reflects that the good thing about skill books is that he doesn't have to fully read them since the contents just go into his head. It makes things so much easier. He buys a book about the basics of magical animals, hoping for some insight. However, he quickly realizes that it contains nothing useful about the papois. The viewers watching his stream flood him with questions about whether he found anything useful in the book. JaeJu replies that he didn't find much, but at least it was cheap. One viewer comments that this is why no one cares about magical animals. Others share similar thoughts, suggesting that it's not too late for JaeJu to change his profession. They point out that with his 10,000 coins, he could easily switch to something more practical. Moments later, JaeJu returns from the hidden basement room and reminds himself that there is one more place to go. He speculates that his competitor likely chose to be a knight or a wizard. Based on his knowledge, chief wizards have their own research rooms, and knight captains have their training grounds. He realizes that to receive the rewards, he must limit the actions of the other streamer. Meanwhile, the other streamer is engaged in a practice swordplay session. He is a tall, black-haired guy with an excellent physique named Lee San-ja. The more he practices with his sword, the more he enjoys it. He looks at his sword excitedly, finding it crazy that although he only used some skill books, it feels like he has trained for decades. His viewers seem thrilled as well, with one of them commenting that his excitement is obvious since the 5th floor is where everyone gets stronger. Lee San-ja reflects that his skill level is rising just by moving around. He considers himself lucky, as by choosing the high difficulty from floor 1, he managed to get a load of coin donations. On the 2nd floor, he had easily beaten the monsters using his kendo skills. On the 3rd floor, he used another participant as his shield to quickly pass through. He was worried that his viewers might abandon him for being responsible for another participant's death, but he ended up getting even more donations for being persistent. Although he barely cleared the 4th floor with only 30 minutes to spare. He chuckles to himself, thinking that maybe he should start giving lessons on how to survive and thrive in the game while keeping the audience entertained. As he reflects on all this, he is suddenly startled to see someone approaching. He quickly recognizes the figure as the second prince, Kaoli. After a brief moment of shock, he drops to his knees, expressing that it is a pleasure to meet the prince. In his head, he wonders why there is a prince here and if this is the right position he read about in the diary. JaeJu, currently occupying the second prince's body, tells him to stand up, mentioning that it is good to see him training for their empire. Lee San-ja replies that he is simply doing his part, all the while wondering if he should have also practiced his royal etiquette alongside his sword skills. Lee San-ja wonders if the second prince is a streamer, but he quickly dismisses the thought, reasoning that they would probably choose the character of a wizard or a knight like him. It turns out that Lee San-ja's character is a sword user, the Black Lion Grandmaster. The Grandmaster is an honest person and hates liars. Lee San-ja reflects that at first it was tough for him to behave like a knight because of the way they talked, but he quickly got used to it by mimicking the other knights. Lee San-ja then asks the second prince what brings him to a sweaty place like this. JaeJu replies that it's nothing much, just a memory of the alcohol he liked. Playing his card, JaeJu throws a question at Lee San-ja, mentioning that he remembers Lee San-ja being in tears last year at his birthday party because his favorite alcoholic drink was not there. Sweating from the sudden, unexpected question, Lee San-ja pauses briefly before replying with a nervous yes. He thinks to himself that of all the things to be remembered for, crying over a missing drink wasn't what he had in mind. JaeJu, as calm as he can be, tells Lee San-ja that he's thinking of sending the drink to his place. However, he isn't that into alcohol, so he doesn't quite remember the name. He asks Lee San-ja what it was called again. Lee San-ja, puzzled and sweating, doesn't know what to answer. In a moment of desperation, he subtly asks his viewers to give him a hint, hoping they remember this fictional drink better than he does. The viewers respond with a mix of confusion and amusement, wondering how they are supposed to know the answer. However, one of them gives a helpful hint, suggesting that an expensive drink fit for Asteroid would likely be between Reagan, Rosignan, or Pertale. Another viewer urges him to be quick and just pick one. With a bit of stammering, Lee San-ja replies that it is called Pertale. JaeJu, maintaining his calm demeanor, says that it sounds familiar and assures Lee San-ja that he will send it over tomorrow. Lee San-ja breathes a sigh of relief, thinking that maybe he should start a fan club for quick-thinking viewers. Lee San-ja thanks him, mentioning that he will work harder to be of help to the Empire, reflecting that he somehow survived. JaeJu realizes that Lee San-ja has been lying, and this confirms his suspicions about the Grandmaster being the other streamer. With a mischievous grin, JaeJu asks Lee San-ja what his Korean name is, catching him off guard. This question not only confronts Lee San-ja about the truth, but also reveals JaeJu's awareness of the situation. Lee San-ja is stunned, knowing he's been exposed. He thinks to himself that maybe he should have stuck to his sword skills instead of dabbling in secret identities. Lee San-ja, feeling cornered, threatens JaeJu with his sword. Just then, Fordrick intervenes, stopping him. Fordrick rushes to JaeJu, asking if he's okay. JaeJu waves off the concern, telling him not to make a fuss, insisting that he's fine. Fordrick, bewildered, insists that he saw the Grandmaster raise his sword at JaeJu with his own eyes. JaeJu explains that he asked to see the Grandmaster's sword skills and requested a demonstration. Turning to Lee Seon-ja, JaeJu asks for confirmation and Lee Seon-jae nods in agreement. Fordrick, still uneasy, mentions that he felt a bloodthirsty aura from the demonstration. JaeJu, trying to justify the situation, says he simply told the Grandmaster to give it his all. Fordrick warns Lee Seon-jae that even though he was demonstrating his skills at the prince's request, he should be wary of his actions next time. He sternly adds that unless Lee Seon-ja wants to be charged with the attempted assassination of the prince, he should exercise more caution. In that case, they will cut his limbs, tie his body up, and then will pull his body with horses around town. Terrified, Lee Seon-jae bows his head and apologizes, admitting that he was too frivolous. Fordrick tells him to back off, stating that since the prince has spoken, he will not press any further. Practically peeing in his pants, Lee Seon-ja quickly flees the scene. As he runs, he can't help but think that maybe practicing some self-control should be his next training goal. Fordrick then escorts Prince Cully back to the palace, ensuring his safety and maintaining the decorum of the royal court. While they walk through the hallway, Fordrick shares with the second prince that the Grandmaster isn't usually like this and something feels off today. JaeJu suggests that maybe it's because he was being hounded. Fordrick remarks that it's quite pathetic for the heart of the Empire, the Grandmaster of the Black Lion, to be so sloppy like a lion trying to dance ballet. JaeJu comments to Fordrick that from the way he's speaking, it seems he's feeling nostalgic. Fordrick looks at the second prince and with a playful grin says it's a mischievous question since he doesn't remember anything after pledging his full allegiance to Empress Perdessa, like his memory got wiped cleaner than a knight's sword. JaeJu nods in agreement and then mentions that he was just wandering around out of boredom in his room and assures Fordrick that he shouldn't worry and can go on his way now. Fordrick bows before the prince, mentioning that he understands but adds a warning that running into the first prince would be a real pain in the butt, so he should be careful. As Fordrick leaves, JaeJu reflects on how he wasted more time than expected and decides he should visit the magic engineering workshop tomorrow. Then he checks the comments from his viewers. They are buzzing with questions, asking what he will do next now that he has found the other streamer, given how difficult things have become. With determination, JaeJu declares that he's going for the chosen ending, like a hero charging towards the final boss in a video game. The viewers erupt with comments pointing out that JaeJu has only 6 days left and questioning if he really thinks he can become the emperor. One viewer even cheekily suggests telling Fordrick about the other guy, betting he'd handle the situation with a snap of his fingers. JaeJu reflects internally, adamant that there must be a smarter approach. There has to be. Meanwhile, Lee Seon-ja is on a quest for information, diving deep into the backgrounds of Fordrick and the second prince. It's revealed that earlier, drenched in fear, Lee Seon-ja had turned to his viewers for advice, worried that as JaeJu is a prince, and a single order from JaeJu could spell doom for him. Lee Seon-ja, visibly shaking like a leaf on a windy day, takes the bold advice of a viewer to head to the administrative office, sticking any dirt on the second prince and ensuring Fordrick is in the mix too. Now Lee Seon-ja has finally secured the necessary documents about the second prince and Fordrick. The documents reveal that Fordrick is a long-term imperial missionary, with his last mission involving the inspection and research of the magic animal ecosystem. There's also a note mentioning that he possesses 3 papoi magical creatures, and all 3 are currently quiet as if they are sick, likely due to environmental pollution. Lee Seon-jae realizes this information might be his ace in the hole, feeling a bit more confident as he clutches the documents but still wary of the unfolding situation. As he shares this information with his viewers, the comment section erupts with excitement. One viewer exclaims that a man with 3 papoi can only be Kim JaeJu. Lee Seon-jae, puzzled, asks his viewers if discovering Kim JaeJu's identity is really that important. The viewer, sounding like a seasoned expert, insists it's crucial and urges him to listen carefully. He instructs Lee Seon-jae to head to the outskirts of the gate where a chapel stands. With a sense of urgency and a hint of mystery, Lee Seon-jae prepares to follow the advice, hoping this chapel isn't just another wild goose chase. Later, as Lee Seon-jae reaches the chapel, he reflects that this method only works when one discovers the identity of the other competitor first. He thinks to himself with a mix of relief and triumph that Kim JaeJu is really screwed now, like finding out the secret ingredient in a cooking competition and realizing your opponent is allergic to it. 1 hour ago, while running outside the mansion, Lee Seon-jae bumps into JaeJu. JaeJu, with a sly smile, asks if it's true that Lee Seon-jae did a background check on him. Lee Seon-jae, cutting through the pretense, tells him to drop the act since he is quite famous, and then calls him by his real name, Kim JaeJu. This leaves JaeJu genuinely surprised. Realizing he is right, Lee Seon-jae rushes outside, heading straight for the chapel without wasting another moment. Overexcited, he shouts while running, declaring that it is over and he is not going to die here by the contestant on a game show who just found the final clue. The chapel, a hidden piece on the 5th floor, holds a critical test. Li Xianjia needs to tell the guardians the name of the other streamer to pass. If he is correct, he advances immediately to the next level. However, when Li Xianjia confidently declares that the second player is Kim JaeJu, the guardian laughs at him, his voice echoing through the chapel. The guardian informs him that his answer is wrong and, adding insult to injury, curses Li Xianjia. As a drawback, Li Xianjia loses all the skills he gained after reaching the 5th floor, feeling as if he just got a surprise pop quiz and failed spectacularly. What had really happened was that JaeJu used his nickname-changing ticket, throwing a curveball into the mix. The viewers are surprised that he knew about the hidden piece, but they guess he must have learned it from someone's comments. They suggest names like Mr. Freshman or Popoy, but JaeJu, being hilariously bad at names, decides to call himself Kim JaeJu too. Flustered, he watches as his viewers poke fun at his lack of creativity. Despite the teasing, he is relieved that his trick worked and his opponent lost all their progress. It's like a magician pulling off an unexpected but successful trick. Li Xianjia, furious at JaeJu, wants to storm into his room. However, the guards of the second prince halt him at the door. They then approach the second prince and inform him that the Grandmaster urgently requests his presence. Thinking it over, JaeJu allows the Grandmaster to enter. However, as soon as Li Xianjia steps into the room, he attempts to attack JaeJu like a cat pouncing on a mouse. Unfortunately for Li Xianjia, he's too slow and dull from the loss of his skills, making his attack about as effective as a soggy noodle. JaeJu easily disarms and pins him to the ground, leaving Li Xianjia fuming but helpless. He warns Li Xianjia that he is keeping him alive only because he could still prove helpful, and if he tried anything funny, he wouldn't hesitate to kill him. It's a stern reminder that even in moments of fury, strategy and skill can turn the tide, leaving Li Xianjia feeling like a deflated balloon. Li Xianjia understands that JaeJu isn't bluffing and runs away as soon as he is free, like a rabbit fleeing from a fox. JaeJu, now alone, wonders if he could become the emperor even if the real emperor died. If all else fails, he muses that he could rely on killing Li Xianjia on the last day. As he sleeps, he dreams about the videos of his attempts at the tower. He remembers himself as a knight, and then the crucial memory hits him. On the 6th day, the second prince underwent trial for the charges of assassinating the emperor. That time, JaeJu took strength as his power and became the knight commander known as the Black Wolf Grandmaster Alec. He recalls hearing the story from a noble who mentioned that all the nobles had gathered to witness the imperial trial. In the videos, he saw the faithful Froderick devastated by the accusations. However, the emperor had beastmen guards renowned for their supreme awareness. It seemed highly improbable for someone like the second prince to assassinate the emperor in their presence, making the accusation feel as shaky as a house of cards in a windstorm. JaeJu, in Alec's body, attends the trial and is disturbed by how rigged the proceedings are. The representatives of the 3 houses, selected as the jury, pass their decision without following due process. Cowley, the second prince, is caught red-handed when the king dies, and the court swiftly labels him the criminal without hearing his side first. The second prince, timid and too shaken to say anything, isn't even given the right to appoint a lawyer. The prosecutor states simple, damning statements that label Cowley as the criminal, making the trial feel more like a poorly scripted drama than a quest for justice. Cowley can do nothing but tremble as the trial proceeds, eventually admitting that everything the prosecutor said is correct. The jury decides to punish him by tying him to horses and dragging him across the kingdom. Froderick tries to speak up for his prince, but his voice of reason is ignored, drowned out like a whisper in a storm. JaeJu is horrified and enraged by the unfair nature of the trial. He swears to himself that he will destroy the tower and make the admin take responsibility for all the unfair business in Asteroid. Fueled by righteous fury, JaeJu vows to bring justice to this corrupt system, determined to right the wrongs he has witnessed. Only one of his viewers asks him to stay true to his promise, and with that, the dream ends. JaeJu wakes up in Prince Cowley's body and tells his viewers that he is determined to reach the designated ending, despite the warnings that Prince Cowley will go through hell. JaeJu is determined to learn more about what brought things to that condition. When he finds nothing in the diary entries, he calls Froderick and asks why his father had not allowed him to keep magical beasts as pets when he was young. Froderick explains that the Emperor had denied his request back then because the magical beast he wanted was quite dangerous, like asking for a fire-breathing dragon as a childhood companion. JaeJu decides to go to the Emperor despite knowing the grim ending that awaits. The viewers have to keep quiet as the admin would kick them out if they spoke too much, so they can only hint at things like mentioning the scroll on the 3rd floor. JaeJu walks to the Emperor's room, fully aware of the danger. As he walks, he recalls the story of the Emperor, who seemed to go mad after the death of his wife, Empress Perdessa, Cowley's mother. The Emperor stopped trusting everyone, consumed by suspicion that someone had killed his beloved wife. For his plan to work, JaeJu knows he needs to get an audience with his father. He reasons that if his father loved his mother so much, then surely he would love the child of his beloved wife. Instead of appearing shy and gloomy, JaeJu decides to show the emperor a changed Kali, one that would surprise him. He even considers Jazz hands for a moment but decides against it. At the door of the king's room, two beastmen stand guard. JaeJu tells them he needs an audience with the emperor. The guards inform him that it's not possible at this time. JaeJu, not one to give up easily, asks if the rule changes for a prince. The guards, unwavering, reply that there are no exceptions. JaeJu briefly considers if bribing them with a good joke might work, but decides their sense of humor probably matches their stony expressions. Seeing this won't work, JaeJu recalls that the beastmen never show any emotion. He decides to try a unique approach. He starts shouting loudly, announcing that the second prince demands an audience with the emperor because he has something important to share. The guards, as expressionless as statues, don't budge. JaeJu wonders if maybe a little dance might add emphasis, but then again, he's not looking to start a circus. However, JaeJu's plan seems to work as the door to his father's room opens and a white knight with wings appears. The knight instructs him to wait in the reception room. Sometime later, as JaeJu waits in the reception room, the emperor of the Asteroid Kingdom, Radiac Dutoprox, appears. Seeing his younger son waiting, the emperor remarks that it's interesting for him to seek an audience. JaeJu stands and bows before his father, asking what he means when a son wants to meet his father. The emperor replies with a hint of sarcasm, questioning since when he has treated him as a father. JaeJu responds that he always has. He considers adding that always might be a stretch, but decides against it, as honesty might not be the best policy here. The emperor comments that there should be evidence behind his words. JaeJu replies that he knows His Majesty has planted beastmen in secret places near him and questions if it isn't because he cares and worries for him. The emperor responds that it's a bold guess. JaeJu boldly claims he took it that way and adds that if that is a parent's love, then as a son, he will follow him. Meanwhile, JaeJu reflects inwardly, recalling that he discovered the hidden beastman from overhearing a chat between the viewers. He muses that sometimes eavesdropping pays off in the most unexpected ways. The emperor asks if that is all JaeJu wanted to say. In response, JaeJu politely requests his father to remove the beastman so they cannot overhear their conversation. The emperor asks for the reason and JaeJu tells him that it's a bit embarrassing. The emperor gestures towards his beastmen, ordering them to back off. Turning back to JaeJu, the emperor asks if he knew it all along and inquires about the real reason he asked to send off the beastmen. JaeJu answers that if it is true the ring magically controls the beastmen, he could claim he knew it. However, he adds that the ring the emperor is currently wearing is a fake. The emperor finds this amusing and asks for evidence, stating that JaeJu's next words will decide his fate. JaeJu responds confidently, saying that to be exact, the emperor has another ring. He then reads from a document detailing that the first prince, Sloan Dutoprox, received recognition and compliments from the emperor 3 years ago for his courageous leadership in the victory of the Battle of the Eastern Lavalic Plains. During the victory ceremony, there was an incident where the drunk first prince spilled his drink on him. JaeJu pauses, wondering if the emperor remembers this moment as fondly as Sloan probably doesn't. He continues, pointing out that during this incident, the real ring was taken and a fake was swapped in its place. The emperor tells JaeJu to stop, asking if he plans to persuade him with just writing on a document. JaeJu folds the document and says that this was merely the document's content, and now he will add to it. He then states that the first prince wiped the alcohol with his handkerchief and naturally took the emperor's ring off in the process. The first prince then switched the real ring with a fake, hiding the genuine one in the handkerchief. The emperor, not convinced, states that it's all just speculation from start to finish and demands evidence in those words. Sweating, JaeJu responds that there is no need for evidence at all, suggesting that the emperor already knows the truth. JaeJu adds that he just wanted to let him know that he knows it as well. The emperor bursts into laughter, clearly amused, and asks JaeJu what he wants. JaeJu thinks to himself that he might have just survived by the skin of his teeth. He contemplates asking for a pony but decides to stick to his original plan. JaeJu tells the emperor that he wants to be the emperor. The emperor reminds his son that there can only be one emperor. JaeJu replies that he knows this and therefore the emperor should die. A viewer named One Punch is really impressed by JaeJu's boldness and tactics, deciding to tip him with 1,000 coins. One Punch sends a voice message cheering him on. Even other viewers are so impressed that they send hefty donations to him. After the conversation with the emperor ends, JaeJu opens his chat and thanks the viewers for their generous donations. With his ending sorted, JaeJu decides to learn more skills with the remaining time. He heads to the magic engineering workshop and meets the first prince, Sloan Dutoprox. They both butt heads, each asking the other about their purpose for visiting the workshop. JaeJu guesses correctly that Sloan got information from the Beastman and wants to know more about what he discussed with the Emperor. JaeJu briefly wonders if this could turn into a sibling rivalry sitcom, but focuses on the task at hand. On hearing that the truth is known, Sloan starts shaking and tries to bully his brother. Sloan is about to hit JaeJu when the head magic engineer of the royal family, Bran, stops them from fighting in front of his workshop. The first prince tries to assert dominance, but Bran doesn't take him seriously. Sloan thinks about executing Bran the moment he becomes emperor, but right now, it's time to run away from insults. JaeJu can't help but think that Sloan's retreat is more like a dramatic exit from a bad soap opera. It seems that the second prince, Cowley, has made a decent impression on the magic engineer, who allows him inside his workshop. JaeJu notices a rude comment from one viewer and decides to use it as an example for everyone else. He blocks that user from chat. Inside the workshop, JaeJu purchases some expensive books about magic engineering and attempts to learn from all 4 books at once. His viewers caution him against doing this, but he proceeds anyway. Suddenly, he feels nauseous, just as the viewers had warned him. The knowledge from the books overwhelms him. He realizes he has learned nothing practical, but has crammed everything like a last-minute exam crammer. JaeJu thinks maybe he should have listened to the viewers and taken it one book at a time instead of trying to become a magic engineering prodigy overnight. Despite this, he isn't entirely sure he's learned much from the books, but he's confident he can still follow the book instructions and improve over time. JaeJu chuckles to himself, thinking that perhaps his next challenge should be mastering the art of pacing himself. Meanwhile, Prince Sloan is plotting to become emperor and get rid of Cowley in one swift move. Unaware of Sloan's scheming, Cowley has asked Bran to let him use his workshop, ensuring that he has some knowledge of material mechanics and thermodynamics. Intrigued by the boy's ambition, Bran gives him a problem to solve. JaeJu, thinking he might have bitten off more than he can chew, braces himself for yet another challenge, hoping this time he doesn't end up with a headache or a queasy stomach. JaeJu uses everything he knows but can only solve half of the problem. However, he scores passing marks on Bran's test, earning the right to use the workshop. JaeJu apologizes to his viewers, warning them that it might get a little boring from now on as he spends his days trying to create something. With less than 2 days left before the trial ends, JaeJu is engrossed in his work when Fordrick informs him that the king has been assassinated and the culprit has not yet been caught. JaeJu's mind races, thinking that his life just turned into a high-stakes thriller. He wonders if he should have stuck to simpler hobbies like knitting. The soldiers and the bailiff arrive to arrest Cowley immediately, taking him to the interrogation room. The day of the trial comes, and JaeJu remembers every line said by the prosecutor. He realizes how terrible the poor second prince must have felt in this situation where no one believed him. As the trial begins, everything unfolds exactly like in the video. When the prosecutor finishes explaining his points, he asks the prince if he has any objections. JaeJu firmly states that he did not kill the emperor. When the jury asks for evidence, JaeJu replies that he has a witness. The entire gathering of nobles is thunderstruck upon seeing the witness in favor of the second prince. The witness is none other than Emperor Radiac Du Toprox himself. As he enters the courtroom, everyone utters their disbelief. JaeJu can't help but feel a bit smug, thinking that pulling off a dramatic twist like this could rival any plot twist in a popular drama series. The Emperor's appearance silences the room, turning the trial into an unexpected spectacle. The Emperor announces his presence, causing the nobles and the jury to bow down before him. He then takes the seat designated for him and decides to take on the role of the judge for the trial. The representative of the nobles, Grand Duke Magnus, who is also a member of the jury, is the most shocked by the Emperor being alive. The Emperor, already aware of the situation, asks for details about the trial. The prosecutor explains everything that has happened. After listening carefully, the Emperor declares that Cowley is not guilty of his assassination. JaeJu can't help but wonder if he should start considering a career in drama after all these high-stakes theatrics. Then the Emperor turns his attention to Magnus and begins listing his crimes, slapping him once for each offense. He tells Magnus that he dishonored his oath as a member of the jury and abused his power as the representative of the nobles by conspiring with the first prince, Sloan. The Emperor orders his knight commanders to throw Magnus into the prison, where he will spend the rest of his life. 4 days ago, when JaeJu visited the Emperor and asked him to die, he had made an elaborate plan. JaeJu then hoped that his bold move would uncover the true conspirators, and with the Emperor's help, they set up this dramatic reveal to expose the traitors within the kingdom. JaeJu then explained to the Emperor that Sloan would try to frame him for the Emperor's death, but the plan he proposed would turn the situation around. He gifted the Emperor his talisman necklace, which protected him from certain death once. In present, the Emperor orders Cowley to be released and Sloane to be arrested and brought before him instead. Sloane is brought to the trial and the Emperor orders the proceedings to start. JaeJu interrupts and volunteers to prove Sloane's crimes. The Emperor grants him the chance he asked for. JaeJu begins interrogating the first prince, who is uncooperative at first. However, when cornered, Sloane snaps and starts acting arrogantly towards the man he thinks is his pathetic little brother. JaeJu realizes that if the real Cowley were here, he might be swayed by the man he thought was a caring brother. But JaeJu, having seen through Sloane's facade, remains steadfast. He presses on, determined to expose Sloane's true nature and bring justice to light. JaeJu begins to recall the pages from the diary of the knave's second prince, Cowley. On his birthday, a young and innocent Prince Cowley asks his brother Sloane why their father hasn't been laughing recently and what he could do to make him happy. Sloane, with a wide smile and a mischievous glint in his eye, tells Cowley that their father loves magical animals and would be overjoyed if Cowley asked for one on his birthday. Taking his elder brother's advice to heart, young Prince Cowley eagerly demands a magical beast from his father on his special day. Instead of the joyful reaction he hoped for, Cowley receives a slap in the face from his father. He continues to cry for hours and only Fordrick is there to support him. Fordrick promises young Cowley that he will find out what's wrong. Determined and resourceful, young Cowley secretly creates a hidden space under his room without his father's knowledge. Fordrick helps him with a project. Cowley offers him a gold coin as a token of gratitude, but Fordrick refuses to accept it. Later, their father discovers the hidden magical beasts under Cowley's room and orders him to burn them down. Heartbroken and confused, Cowley wonders who could have revealed his secret. Only two people knew about the hidden room: Fordrick, who helped him build it, and his brother Sloane. Although Cowley couldn't imagine his brother or Fordrick betraying him, it turns out that Sloane had set him up. Forced by his father's orders, Cowley reluctantly burns the magical beasts he loves so much. Cowley could not bear the grief and decided to drown his sorrows in alcohol at a commoner's bar where he wouldn't be recognized. This time he promised himself to raise magical animals again, but without his brother knowing. However, the hunters in the bar boast about the magical beasts they have hunted, which makes Cowley very angry. The next thing he remembers is waking up injured with Fordrick tending to his wounds. This incident shatters Cowley's trust in people. He starts believing that magical animals are better than humans. They might breathe fire or turn invisible, but at least they don't betray you. In present, JaeJu, feeling a surge of anger on Cowley's behalf, proceeds with the trial. Sloane, realizing the gravity of the situation, becomes cooperative and calls for the Beastman guard to come forth as his witnesses. He hides the ring to control the Beastmen under his handkerchief and uses it to manipulate their testimony. However, the guard, swearing on his honor as a knight, testifies that the one who entered the Emperor's chamber was Sloane du Toprox. Sloane realizes the king holds the real ring while he's been clutching a fake. With this revelation, he understands there's no hope left for him. He drops the rings, feeling utterly dejected. JaeJu, ever the opportunist, uses the ring as more evidence that the first prince is behind the attempted assassination. Turning to the Emperor, JaeJu asks about the identical rings. The Emperor, with a dramatic flair fit for a court performance, explains that his ring is the handiwork of the master engineer Bran. In contrast, the ring the prince possesses was crafted by one of Bran's less loyal disciples, who swiped the blueprint to make a quick buck. JaeJu seeks the Emperor's permission to deliver the final verdict, but Sloane leaps up, objecting like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. He claims the trial isn't following due process, pointing out that Cowley isn't qualified to act as a prosecutor. Then, in a moment of unexpected honesty or perhaps desperation, he admits to paying people in the gallery. The crowd collectively raises an eyebrow, murmuring like it's the juiciest gossip they heard all week. JaeJu, not missing a beat, asks if anyone wants to speak in favor of Sloane. The silence is so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Nobody is volunteering to help him out. With a theatrical flourish, JaeJu declares that the first prince, Sloane, is found guilty of the attempted assassination of the Emperor and should be arrested immediately. Then JaeJu asks the Emperor if he can deliver a personal message to the criminal, given that he, too, was a victim of Sloane's schemings. The Emperor allows it, and JaeJu approaches Sloane, ready to unleash his pent-up anger and the pain Cowley must have felt. Taking a page from the Emperor's book on how to deal with Grand Duke Magnus, JaeJu starts hitting Sloane while counting his crimes. With his knight's aura, each blow lands heavily, disfiguring Sloane's face in a way that would make a Picasso painting look normal. After venting his fury, JaeJu resumes his official duty and declares the final verdict. Sloane is to be tied and dragged by horses across the empire. The sentence sounds so medieval that even the court jester stops chuckling. The Emperor agrees to the judgment but can't resist adding a little something extra. He orders Sloane's head to be cut off and displayed at the tallest point of each city for 1 month. The guards prepare to carry out the punishment, and Sloane's face suggests he suddenly misses the relative comfort of just being in chains. Just as the guards drag him away, Sloane's cries and screams fill the air, sounding like a very dramatic opera gone wrong. JaeJu, staying focused on his own goals, steps forward and asks the Emperor if he can speak to him as his son. In a bold move, he requests the Emperor to step down from the throne and hand it over to him in front of all the nobles. The Emperor starts laughing, a deep belly laugh that echoes through the court. He admits he usually isn't a fan of unjustifiable convictions, but this time he finds agreeable, confident that it was done in good faith. The nobles watch with bated breath, wondering if they've just witnessed the most daring job application ever. The Emperor descends from his throne, ready to give his final order as the ruler of Estrode. He declares that he will be stepping down and Kali Dutoprox will become the new emperor. Just as the declaration is made, time freezes for everyone except JaeJu. He finds himself in his body, but in a strange, otherworldly space. The administrator contacts him, extending an offer for JaeJu to become an administrator as well. JaeJu, with a mix of surprise and bemusement, politely declines the offer, thinking he's already got enough on his plate without adding cosmic duties to the list. The admin warns JaeJu that the consequences of refusing could be dangerous. JaeJu, always one for blunt questions, asks if refusing would mean his death. The admin, with a hint of ominous mystery, tells him they will be waiting for him on the 10th floor. JaeJu reads a message explaining that he must spend his time in this world and will be immediately transferred to the 6th floor once it's over. With a mix of determination and resignation, he clicks the yes button. Time resumes exactly where it stopped, but even the viewers of the stream notice something odd as their screens buffer for a moment. They sense that something strange has happened, but the show must go on. With JaeJu's success in making Kali the emperor, his father throws a grand party to celebrate the new reign. Meanwhile, Sloane is escorted to his cell by the other streamer, Lee Seon-ja. Sloane seethes with anger as Lee Seon-ja laughs at his predicament. However, Lee Seon-ja pays Sloane no mind and is still daydreaming about Kim JaeJu. Frustrated and powerless, he starts cursing like a sailor who's just stubbed his toe. Meanwhile, his viewers, convinced that his end is near thanks to JaeJu's triumph, begin to drift away, probably to find a more exciting stream with Q-Cat videos. Sloane, desperate to keep his dwindling audience, pleads with them not to abandon him, but their lack of interest is as clear as day. It's like he's trying to sell ice to Eskimos. However, their words prove prophetic when Lee Seon-ja receives a message stating that he has lost. But something is wrong with Sloane. He is turned into a puppet for the admin, driven by some dark magic to execute Sloane right inside the palace. With Sloane's demise, JaeJu is now the emperor, with a day and a half before his time is up. His viewers are proud of him, admitting that it was the most epic 4-5 they had ever seen. Before he does anything else, JaeJu decides to visit the room of Kali's late mother, Empress Pregessa. The room, filled with memories and the faint scent of her favorite flowers, offers a moment of quiet reflection. JaeJu had cried upon seeing the videos of Kali's unfair trial, vowing to make things right for him when he entered the tower. Leaving the room of Empress Pregessa, he reflects on his journey. His viewers always have mixed opinions. Some argue that it wasn't even real, and JaeJu realizes this too, but he feels content for himself and for Kai. He joins the party, celebrating the victory with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for winning the lottery. However, the next day, JaeJu wakes up with a hangover, his head pounding like a drum in a rock concert. The former emperor and Bran had teamed up to make JaeJu drink more than he could handle, and now he feels the consequences. Just as he is about to vomit, his viewers, in a rare moment of mercy, tell him to cut the signal. They definitely don't want to see that. Once he finishes his not-so-glamorous moment, he reopens the stream. His viewers, ever supportive, immediately ask him to use the coins they donated yesterday. Checking his balance, JaeJu is shocked to see he now has over 16,000 coins. It turns out that while he was drunk, the donations poured in. But the biggest surprise comes from the Love, who generously donates 10,000 coins. Touched and a little dazed, JaeJu thanks him and all his other supporters, promising to work even harder. His hangover might be brutal, but the support from his fans makes it all worth it. JaeJu, still recovering from the hangover, decides to visit his father, ex-emperor Radiac Dutoprox, to get some answers. He asks why his father was so angry when Kali had asked for a magical beast as his birthday present. Radiac explains that the magical beasts had shown signs of going berserk, and he realized it was Sloane's doing. He confesses that Kali reminded him of Pregessa, who was also kind to a fault. With that revelation, Radiac gently but firmly tells the new emperor to go and mind his busy schedule. JaeJu, now understanding a bit more about his family's complicated history, nods and leaves with an emotional goodbye, ready to tackle the responsibilities of his new role. albeit with a clearer mind and a slightly lighter heart. Next, JaeJu heads to the workshop to meet Bran and bid him farewell. On the way, he argues with his viewers, insisting that magical engineering is the best class and he wanted nothing else. Bran is happy to see him and hands over the gloves JaeJu had made in his workshop. Bran warns that while the gloves are powerful, they are still unstable, urging the new emperor to be careful with them. Feeling a mix of excitement and caution, JaeJu takes the gloves and a few other items. With a wink and a promise to avoid blowing anything up, mostly, he bids the master engineer farewell and leaves the workshop ready to face whatever comes next with a touch of engineering brilliance and a dash of unpredictability. But as JaeJu leaves, he ponders whether his actions have any lasting impact. He worries that once he moves on to the next floor, everything will return to normal and Cowley will still be a victim in the stories. He wonders if his efforts had any real meaning. However, on the third floor, something changes. When a streamer clears the hard mode and opens up the scroll, he finds a story that is different from the usual tales. This new story tells of an emperor who reached the title without conspiracy and ill efforts. This emperor led Astrode to new heights, and his people loved him dearly. JaeJu's actions have left a mark after all, rewriting history in the scrolls and proving that sometimes, even in the most unpredictable of games, good deeds can create lasting change. The scroll ends with a warning to the streamer, advising them not to disturb the kind heart of the noble emperor. The viewers on the stream are shocked by this unexpected version of the story and start debating whether it was a bug. They argue among themselves until they notice the signature at the end of the scroll. Fordrick. JaeJu's actions have indeed made a difference in Cowley's story and the history of Astrode. Back in his palace, JaeJu calls for Fordrick to see if anything has changed with the Pupoi, the magical creatures. Fordrick reports that nothing new is happening with the Pupoi, but he is certain they are not going berserk anymore. Happy to hear the good news, JaeJu goes to meet his friends, the Pupoi. The magical creatures have improved significantly after a few days of fasting as their metabolism has reset. JaeJu unlocks their enclosure and starts playing with them, enjoying their newfound energy. He informs his viewers that he needs to turn off the chat to focus on what he's making. This turns out to be a wise decision as the viewers' comments are truly distracting. Most of them either want him to cause some chaos with the remaining time or just spend it playing with the adorable monsters. JaeJu, ever the multitasker, finds a way to balance both, ensuring the Pupoi have fun while he works on his project. JaeJu shuts down the chat and dives into the delicate task of fixing the glove. As Bran had warned, the glove is about as stable as a house of cards in a hurricane. Each time JaeJu fixes one part, another decides to throw a tantrum and break. This makes him think of the legendary magic engineer Reynold, whose genius was so unmatched that the history of magical engineering is divided into before Reynold and after Reynold. It's like the guy was the Messi of magical engineering. JaeJu wrestles with the glove, muttering under his breath and probably making a few new creative curses. Just when it seems like the glove might win this round, JaeJu somehow makes it work with just 10 minutes left on the clock. His viewers, who had been making bets on whether he'd succeed or explode, cheer wildly. The glove JaeJu has crafted is like an Iron Man glove that follows mental instructions using his mana and can shoot beams. With the glove finally stable, he resumes the chat and starts interacting with his viewers again, making jokes about how he might just start his own superhero franchise. As the trial time ends, JaeJu is transferred out of the 5th floor. The viewers from Lee Sang-jae's stream are automatically transferred to JaeJu's stream, creating an influx of new refugees. This sparks a lively banter between JaeJu's loyal supporters and the fresh arrivals, resembling a school cafeteria food fight. Noticing the chat turning into a wild carnival thanks to the newcomers, JaeJu takes action. He decides to restrict comments, allowing only those who have spent at least 12 hours on his stream to participate. The chat, now under control, feels a bit like a VIP lounge, entry granted only to the seasoned fans. The original supporters, now basking in the silence of their muted rivals, revel in their newfound peace. JaeJu, feeling the calm, finally decides to check the rewards. He clicks the reward option and a huge box falls right in front of him, as if summoned by a magical spell. Even the newcomers, previously rowdy, are stunned into silence. They quickly start sending donations along with voice messages, eager to win JaeJu's attention. Realizing that voice messages can be sent even with low donations, JaeJu decides to raise the requirement to 500 coins, hoping this new barrier will keep the noise to a minimum. Just as he breathes a sigh of relief, thinking he's restored order, another donation pops up from a viewer named Luca, who JaeJu had banned earlier. Looks like some ghosts just don't stay in the past. Luca had sent JaeJu another message during a trial, pleading to be added back to the chat. This time, the banned viewer's apology is even more passionate, complete with virtual puppy eyes. JaeJu, however, ignores this request just as he had the previous one. He proceeds to open the box, ready for a grand reveal. But to everyone's dismay, the reward turns out to be just a set of plain clothes with no special features. The crowd, now sounding like a chorus of disgruntled game show contestants, complains that the prize is unfair. JaeJu, however, realizes that this is the admin's way of provoking him, a subtle reminder that he is still the same Kim JaeJu from the videos. The admin seems to be sending a message, but JaeJu simply shrugs it off. He knows better than to get riled up by such tactics. After all, he's here to play the game, not to let the game play him. The next box, however, holds something special. Inside, JaeJu finds a heroic-grade item, Lotonto's leather boots. These boots, crafted from the skin of a naturally deceased snake, come with all the snake's abilities. They include hardness control, size control, invisibility, and color and texture camouflage. The viewers are stunned by the stark contrast between the two gifts, quickly dubbing the admin a master of suspense. Despite the boots' overpowered nature, they are notoriously difficult to use. JaeJu is well aware of this, which is why the viewers' reactions are more tempered than one would expect for a heroic item. But JaeJu, ever the skilled player, easily alters the shape and color of the boots, leaving his audience wide-eyed and slack-jawed. It's like watching a fashion show with magical footwear, and JaeJu is strutting down the runway. JaeJu discovers he has received 5,000 coins this time, bringing his total to over 20,000 coins, an unusually high amount for someone clearing the 5th floor. He's considering saving the money to buy a special skill book on the 10th floor. Moreover, knowing that the 6th floor is a team challenge, he decides to hide away his popoys. The viewers are disappointed as they enjoy seeing the popoi in action, but ultimately, it is JaeJu's decision. He remains confident that he can clear any challenge that comes his way, popoi or no popoi. With a grin, he prepares for the next adventure, knowing he's got the skills and the coins to back him up. On the 6th floor, JaeJu finds himself in a team of 4 streamers tasked with eliminating all the enemies in the forest of evil spirits. The other 3 team members are already waiting for him. One is a burly young man who is clearly a knight, exuding strength and confidence like he just walked out a protein shake commercial. Another is a middle-aged man who appears to be a mage surrounded by an air of wisdom and mystery, probably the type who never loses at trivia night. However, it's the 3rd member who catches JaeJu's eye. She's a girl wearing a school uniform and a mask, a combination that makes her look like she's either ready for a test or a masquerade ball. Annoyed by his staring, she snarkily asks if this is the first time he's seen a human being. But JaeJu isn't fixated on her appearance. He's intrigued by her mask, which looks both useful and expensive. JaeJu wonders what secrets it might hold as they prepare to tackle the challenge ahead. Before any tension can escalate, the knight intervenes. He introduces himself as Jung Kang Hyuk, a health trainer in the real world, probably the kind who can bench press a small car. The mage Park Jinsu makes it clear he's not interested in socializing, likely preferring the company of his spell books over small talk. Meanwhile, the viewers in Kim JaeJu's stream decide they need to dig up more information about the other team members. They leave to spy on the others' chats like digital detectives on a mission. The girl, still wearing her mysterious mask, finally speaks up. She introduces herself as Lee Seha, but shares nothing about her abilities, except for a vague statement that she can take and hit punches. This leaves JaeJu wondering if she's a martial artist or just really good at dodgeball. JaeJu introduces himself as a magic engineer, a title that immediately shocks the knight. Jung Kang Hyuk, unable to hide his surprise, asks if his viewers tricked him into taking such a trash job. JaeJu laughs it off, explaining that he chose the job despite his viewers' attempts to dissuade him. The girl, still unimpressed, thinks magic engineering sounds pretty lame, like a career choice from a rejected video game. Before the discussion can get any more heated, the mage Park Jinsu starts the strategy meeting. He informs the team that the fog surrounding them marks the boundary for the 6th floor. Once the monsters arrive, the plan is for the knight and the girl to fight on the front lines while the mage takes the center position. As the magic engineer, JaeJu would stay behind and provide support as needed. It's like a well-organized game of fantasy football with everyone knowing their position. The waves begin and the monsters emerge, but the viewers are in for a surprise. Instead of the usual ghost-type monster, a giant bug appears. Panic spreads through the chats as viewers scramble to warn their respective streamers. The knight, eager to show off, rushes to attack the monstrous bug. Expecting to slice through an ethereal form, he's taken aback when his sword clangs against the bug's solid exoskeleton. The bug swiftly disarms him and attacks, grabbing him with its formidable pincers. Struggling, Jung Kang Hyuk manages to free himself from the insect monster's grasp, but finds he can't get far. The bug's relentless pursuit keeps him within reach, making it clear this battle won't be as straightforward as he thought. The viewers quickly identify the monster as a cleaner, a devil-type creature that shouldn't be making an appearance on the 6th floor. JaeJu knows about cleaners and recalls that they're usually found no lower than 25th floor. He silently curses the admin for cranking up the difficulty so irrationally, thinking it's like showing up for a fun run and finding out it's a marathon. As the monster lunges at the fallen knight, the girl swoops in like a superhero without a cape. She grabs one of its jaws and, with a punch that would make a heavyweight boxer proud, smashes through its head. Even JaeJu's viewers, typically a tough crowd, are impressed by her strength. The monster is defeated, and the first wave is cleared, leaving everyone a bit in awe and slightly rethinking their earlier judgments. It's like watching a school kid take down a bully twice her size. Nobody saw it coming, but everyone's cheering. The girl tells the knight he was pathetic and unreliable for ignoring the warnings. Despite her victory, she's visibly upset about her clothes being stained by the monster's blue blood. JaeJu suddenly remembers her from the videos, Lee Se-ha already famous. But as she catches JaeJu staring at her, she can't shake the feeling that she seemed to have seen him somewhere before. The mage, seeing the knight's less than stellar performance, revises the strategy for the second wave, realizing the knight won't be much help. Meanwhile, the viewers who had gone to scout other parties return, eager to share the mood and gossip from the other chats. Lee Se-ha's viewers, like doting parents at a school play, shower her with money no matter what she does. They are incredibly proud of her, flooding the chat with donations. Over in the mage's chat, everyone maintains a serious and solemn demeanor, as if they're attending a grand wizard convention. Meanwhile, in the knight's stream, some rather mean-spirited viewers are enjoying his suffering, cheering when the monster chops off his fingers. It's a harsh crowd indeed. JaeJu steps in to help the knight, using his glove to cauterize the wounds. The knight, now hiding behind JaeJu, cries quietly. It's a dramatic scene with the knight playing the role of a distressed damsel, while JaeJu takes on the part of the reluctant hero. In the next wave, two monsters appear, and once again, Lee Se-ha defeats both of them single-handedly. JaeJu recalls that in the videos, Lee Se-ha was known as the prodigy of close combat. On the 5th floor, she had chosen to be a commoner and learned close combat from a hermit martial artist. She earned her title and justified it at every turn. JaeJu never imagined he would run into her, especially with the difficulty level cranked up so high. As the third wave begins, 4 monsters arrive, coming in teams of 2 from opposite sides. Lee Se-ha immediately engages 2 of them, showcasing her prodigious skills once more. The mage hurls a fireball at the other 2 monsters, but quickly discovers his attack has no effect on the cleaners. JaeJu steps in to save him, using his glove to defeat both monsters with ease. Knowing their strengths and weaknesses, he can kill them in just one punch. Meanwhile, Lee Se-ha, distracted by the second team of monsters, is about to be attacked by the one monster on her side that remains alive. Just as the monster is about to strike, JaeJu covers the distance between them in unbelievable time and kills the monster in a single hit. Making an innocent face, JaeJu stands there with blood splattered around, casually asking if she's okay. The viewers burst out with comments, one of them even saying that the real One-Punch Man is here. Another points out that JaeJu must have used his Lotonto's leather boots for real this time. The chat is buzzing with excitement, mixing admiration and playful teasing as they watch their hero pull off yet another incredible feat. Lee Se-ha, shocked by his speed and power, realizes she has underestimated him. It's like witnessing a superhero rescue, with JaeJu stepping in at the last moment to save the day, leaving everyone in awe of his abilities. JaeJu doesn't reveal that Lotonto's leather boots gave him the speed boost, keeping that ace up his sleeve. The team soon learns that the mage has no better magic than what he already used, much to their disappointment. The knight, trying to save face, annoyingly claims they didn't even need his help to clear the rest of the waves. However, the mage makes a grim realization. He calculates that the number of monsters won't just double in the next wave. It will be squared. That means they will face 16 monsters this time, and by the 5th wave, there would be a staggering 256 of them. It's like going from a manageable math problem to a monstrous equation, and the team's expressions reflect the daunting challenge ahead. JaeJu and Lee Se-ha clear the 4th wave together, their teamwork impeccable as the other 2 members prove to be more decorative than functional. Tension rises as they anticipate the final wave, 256 cleaners coming from all directions. The viewers flood the chat with complaints to the admin, but their cries for help go unanswered. JaeJu takes charge, instructing the other streamers to lay down flat. Charging his glove with magic energy, he releases a powerful beam towards the approaching monsters. The beam cuts through the cleaners like a hot knife through butter, but JaeJu quickly realizes he can't sustain it for long. He then dramatically swings his hand, and the beam destroys all the monsters in one hit. The battlefield is left clear, and the viewers are left in awe, wondering if they just witnessed a miracle or a magic engineering masterpiece. The other team members get up, shocked to see all 256 monsters dead and the ground scorched like a barbecue gone wrong. JaeJu, looking drained, tosses his glove aside as blood trickles from his mouth. He had used too much magic power. The mage and Lee Se-ha rush to his side, faces full of concern. JaeJu, ever the cool cat, assures them that he overexerted himself with magic and it's nothing serious. He tells Lee Se-ha not to worry, and she, surprisingly tender, gets flustered while denying her concern. It's like watching a tough action hero suddenly blush at a compliment. Lee Se-ha takes off her mask, revealing a pretty face that takes JaeJu by surprise. She asks JaeJu what his real name is, mentioning that her viewers couldn't find his stream when they searched for him. JaeJu quickly calculates the pros and cons of revealing his name. The mage and Lee Se-ha have loyal viewers, but the knight's viewers could flock to his stream, which might be more trouble than it's worth. After a moment's thought, he decides to share. With a hint of mischief, he tells her that he changed his nickname to Kim JaeJu too. As viewers start pouring into his stream just as he guessed, most of them are from the knight's stream. On the suggestion of his loyal followers, JaeJu decides to restrict their entry to maintain control over his chat. The mage insists they can't linger any longer and suggests they check their rewards and depart. Reward boxes appear before them, each one promising a well-deserved prize for their efforts. As they prepare to open them, Lee Se-ha, still awestruck by JaeJu, starts to ask if they have met somewhere before. However, she is interrupted mid-sentence, left speechless as JaeJu's reward box drops and stands out from the others. The mage, intrigued by the discrepancy, speculates whether the 6th floor rewards are based on individual contributions. JaeJu's box, larger and more ornate, hints at something extraordinary inside. As JaeJu starts opening his box, both the knight and the mage lean in so closely they might as well be trying to read his palm. JaeJu finds their curiosity a bit clingy, but the knight quickly assures him they're just curious, like kids peeking at their friend's birthday present. Inside, JaeJu discovers the leather gloves of Lotanto, the owner of 7 snakes, complete with magic amplification and temperature manipulation abilities. With a smirk, JaeJu comments that if they insist on giving him such a powerful item, he can't very well decline. JaeJu slips on the gloves, feeling the surge of power and the weight of new responsibilities, not to mention the cool factor. Looks like he is ready for a high-stakes magic show. The system notifies him that the set bonus has activated since he's gathered 2 items from the same set. This bonus is like a superhero upgrade, granting him new abilities. Zoom, because seeing is believing, magic power amplification, more magic, more fun, and the ability to imitate color and texture. Finally, he can match his outfit to the decor. However, everyone knows that using these gloves is even more challenging than mastering the boots. JaeJu mentally prepares himself for the new learning curve, thinking it's like upgrading from a tricycle to a unicycle. Much cooler, but a lot trickier. The knight's viewers push him to ask JaeJu to remove the entry restriction. JaeJu, however, says he can't do that because his own followers aren't too thrilled about it. Done with collecting their reward boxes, the mage is the first to head through the portal, closely followed by the knight. Left behind on the floor with JaeJu is Lee Se-ha. JaeJu, rather oblivious to the situation, places his bag down to let his glove cool off. Just then, the popboy make their grand entrance from the bag, apparently mistaking the glove's magical aura for an all-you-can-eat buffet. They're ready to munch down on some serious enchantment. Just in time, JaeJu swoops in to stop the popboy from turning the glove into their next meal. Lee Se-ha catches sight of them and asks JaeJu about these curious creatures. He's at a loss for words, but the popboy's cuteness does all the talking. Lee Se-ha is on the verge of blurting out how adorable they are, but gets so flustered that she bolts away, leaving JaeJu to wonder if he said something wrong. With Lee Se-ha gone, JaeJu heads for the 7th floor. Meanwhile, his viewers try and be helpful, hint at what's coming next. One overly enthusiastic viewer is just about to spill that the level is like psychological warfare when the admin steps in and gives them the boot. It's crystal clear that the admin doesn't appreciate spoilers. On the 7th floor, the stage is set for some serious psychological warfare. JaeJu, already clued in about the trial, steps into the 7th floor and gets the lowdown. It's a showdown between 2 streamers, with violence off the table and viewers stuck with their chosen stream. The contest will be judged by the Statue of Liars, a massive multi-armed statue brandishing an array of weapons. But JaeJu's attention shifts when he sees his opponent. His jaw drops in surprise, clearly not expecting to face this particular challenger. JaeJu is stunned to recognize his opponent as Han Ji-seok, the same unpleasant character from the videos he disliked. Han Ji-seok has a notorious reputation for ruthlessly taking out anyone, even those not involved in his trials. JaeJu knows all too well how dangerous Han Ji-seok is. Despite his dislike, he maintains a courteous demeanor, greeting him like an awkward stranger. He's eager to take Han Ji-seok down, but knows it won't be a walk in the park. The 7th floor is no ordinary challenge. It's a lie detector test. JaeJu has to figure out if Han Ji-seok is lying while also weaving his own web of deception. The rules of the trial are a labyrinth of complexity, but in essence, it's a battle to win 3 rounds of a game involving truths and lies. Both competitors begin by probing each other and dodging questions, setting the stage for the main event. When the trial kicks off, Han Jiseok takes the first turn and asks JaeJu if he knew him before entering the tower. JaeJu, sticking to his gun, says no. Han Jiseok, ever the keen observer, guesses that JaeJu is lying. JaeJu then flips the script and asks Han Jiseok if he would kill people even when it's not necessary for the trial. Han Jiseok, without missing a beat, agrees. The score stands at 1 victory for Han Jiseok, and JaeJu is left to ponder his next move. Han Jiseok then asks JaeJu if he knew what the trial on the 7th floor was before reading the rules. JaeJu, trying to keep up his poker face, lies again, but Han Jiseok calls him out once more. JaeJu is taken aback by how perceptive Han Jiseok is after just a few minutes of observation. It's like he's got a built-in lie detector with a high-resolution camera. Desperate to turn the tide, JaeJu poses a tough question, whether Han Jiseok could kill his own wife if it were necessary. Han Jiseok hesitates, struggling to dodge the question, but ultimately admits he couldn't do it. JaeJu seizes the moment, declaring that Han Jiseok's answer is a lie. The statue agrees and awards JaeJu a point. The score now stands at 2-1 in Han Jiseok's favor, with the battle far from over. As the nail-biting competition continues, JaeJu's viewers are on edge, gripping their seats like their lives depend on it. Han Jiseok, unfazed, asks JaeJu if he knew about his marriage in the outside world. JaeJu, with a calm demeanor, admits he did. The score remains unchanged, leaving viewers to speculate about the history between these two. JaeJu then throws a curveball. If Han Jiseok's wife entered the tower and stood in his way, would that be reason enough to kill her? Reason enough to cut her and throw her halves into the streets? Han Jiseok denies it, but JaeJu is quick to call his bluff, betting it's a lie. JaeJu, known for his knack for taking risks, is spot on. Viewers are now convinced Han Jiseok must be a monster in human skin, questioning just how far his dark side goes. Han Jiseok, ever the tactician, asks a sharp question. Isn't JaeJu actually entering the tower for the 2nd time? JaeJu feels as if the sky has just come crashing down, but sticks to his story, denying it. Han Jiseok, confident in his deduction, declares that JaeJu is lying. The statue reacts dramatically, lifting its axe as a message appears. To Han Jiseok's shock, the statue announces that the devil will administrate a punishment to the user Han Jiseok. Han Jiseok is baffled by his failed guess, trying to figure out how JaeJu pulled off this deception. The trick lies in JaeJu's clever distinction. He views the JaeJu in the videos as a different person, a distinction the statue also considers. The statue takes both the individual's mindset and what they think into account. If he had felt it was the 2nd time to himself, and Han Jiseok would have won. But JaeJu doesn't consider the version of himself in the videos as the real him. As the statue grabs Han Jiseok's limbs, preparing to deliver the final blow, Han Jiseok, even in his last moments, is determined to uncover JaeJu's true identity. JaeJu reflects on the videos, recalling that Han Jiseok was an emotionless man who had even killed his sister-in-law on higher floors without a flicker of remorse. JaeJu reveals that they knew each other in the past, and JaeJu ponders what will be the result of this either, and whether Han Jiseok's wife, who comes later in the tower, would be happy or be weighed down by his death. Meanwhile, the chat is anything but somber. However, viewers quickly shift gears, discussing intelligence, psychopaths, and then making lighthearted jokes. It seems no amount of tension can keep the mood from swinging back to playful banter. New viewers, eager to join the chat, send donations and voice messages begging to be added. However, JaeJu, sticking to his guns, refuses their requests. He decides it's time to check out his rewards before moving to the next level. He receives a new item from Lotanto's set, the armguard of Lotanto. This nifty piece of equipment grants him the ability to nullify spells. It's the creme de la creme of the set, and JaeJu is thrilled. Plus, thanks to the set bonus ability, he can change its color to match his gloves. It's like having a magical wardrobe that's always in style. JaeJu also picks up a bag of 5,000 coins, which seems to be a recurring theme for him. As he moves on to the next floor, he's mentally drained and collapses into sleep. Meanwhile, the viewers speculate about what's waiting for him on this level, something so daunting that it had previously made people abandon his stream from the first floor. JaeJu wakes up just as the trial is about to begin, only to find himself surrounded by a bunch of eager popoi. They leap at him, and JaeJu instinctively takes a defensive stance, ready for a fight. To his surprise, the popoi aren't there to attack. They're there for a group hug. The little creatures snuggle up to him, and JaeJu realizes they're thrilled to see him. He suspects this warm reception is thanks to the skills he earned on the 5th floor. It turns out the popoi have a soft spot for him, making him wonder if he's accidentally joined their fan club. JaeJu's three papoi emerge from the bag and are not too thrilled about the new arrivals. It's not exactly a hostile situation, rather it's more of a papoi jealousy fest. The task of eliminating enemies turns into making friends with the papoi, and with that, JaeJu completes the 8th level. Before moving on, he checks out his reward, a scroll. Unrolling it, he finds a poem about the world tree, describing its fall and eventual regrowth. JaeJu, well-versed in the lore, knows that the world tree is actually two trees entwined around each other, intertwining their fates, and by extension, the fate of Estrode. It's like nature's very own soap opera with dramatic twists and turns. The world tree, named Foreen and Forden, fell, releasing the spirit of the devil. This event set the stage for the trials of the twisted world of Estrode, which would occur on the 25th level. JaeJu, feeling worn out, decides to take a nap to recharge. Unfortunately, the papoi aren't about to let him rest in peace. They turn his nap into a playful romp. After an hour of being the papoi's jungle gym, JaeJu finally wakes up and heads for the 9th floor with his 3 loyal papoi. The 9th floor presents another team challenge, requiring 2 people to solve a puzzle, much like the 4th floor. The papoi who stayed behind seem a bit bummed out, missing out on the action, while JaeJu and his companions press on to tackle the next challenge. Originally, the challenge involved 2 walls and 2 streamers with a time limit of 4 hours. However, it's been adjusted for JaeJu to 2 hours for 4 walls. His partner for this puzzle challenge is a stunning woman who's thrilled to see the papoi. She grabs JaeJu's hand, causing him to blush, a reaction that doesn't go unnoticed. Viewers are abuzz, recognizing her as a well-known celebrity in the gaming world. Her name is Jin Haein, and JaeJu recognizes her from the videos. Known by her nickname Witch, she's famous not only for her striking beauty, but also for her sharp cunning and intelligence. JaeJu is well aware that many men enchanted by Jin Haein's smile have ended up with painful fates. To avoid falling into that trap, he decides to keep his distance. He proposes that she handle one wall while he tackles the other, aiming to stay slow and inconspicuous to avoid raising her suspicions. However, it becomes clear that Jin Haein is concealing her true abilities. Realizing that their time is ticking away, JaeJu decides he needs to step up the pace. Determined not to get stuck, he takes on all 4 walls himself and solves them. Jin Haein leaps into JaeJu's arms, hugging him tightly and calling him a genius for solving all the puzzles with 20 minutes to spare. JaeJu, feeling slightly overwhelmed by her enthusiasm, points out that there's no point in trying to deceive him. He's well aware she's much smarter than this. JaeJu carefully disentangles himself from Jin Haein's hug and says that if she were truly Jin Haein, she wouldn't even need an hour to solve all 4 puzzles. In response, she flashes him a wicked smile, as if she's enjoying this little game of cat and mouse. In the videos, JaeJu had met Jin Haein on the higher floors, and on the 4th floor, she had cleared the puzzles in just 10 minutes. She laughs, clearly amused that he's recognized her true identity. Jin Haein then cheekily asks JaeJu to return the favor by revealing something about himself. She probes whether he is in the tower for the 2nd time, a question her viewers have been curious about after his impressive performance on the 7th floor. With a flirty smile, she playfully insists he answer her question, making it clear that she's not just interested in the puzzles, but also in teasing him a bit. JaeJu realizes there's no escaping Jin Haein once she sets her sights on someone, so he proposes a deal. He offers to answer her question if she gives him her robe that amplifies magic. Jin Haein, misinterpreting his request, assumes he's interested in seeing her figure and preens a bit. JaeJu, determined to keep his focus on the deal, does his best to avoid looking her way. She's taken aback when she learns that he's not after her looks but rather the valuable robe. JaeJu clarifies that he's not in the tower for the 2nd time, nor is it a matter of regression or reincarnation. He simply knows a lot about the tower, even though he's never actually entered it. It's like having all the insider info without needing to be on the inside. JaeJu has left out a lot of crucial details, but Jin Haein finds his air of mystery intriguing. She laughs, admitting that she has a thing for men with secrets, and now she's taken a liking to him as well. Realizing it's time to make a swift exit, JaeJu prepares to bolt as soon as the floor is cleared. When Jin Haein asks for his real name, he doesn't answer. Out of his viewers, the love repeatedly tells him to not get enchanted by the vile woman. With that, JaeJu successfully enters the 10th floor, the free area. Here he gains the unique privilege to watch new streamers who have yet to reach level 10, while only viewers who are above floor 20 can see him. The viewers who have supported him and gifted him coins will finally get their rewards. JaeJu informs his viewers that he plans to explore the floor and will be turning off the stream for a while. As he steps into the 10th floor, he immediately senses something different from what he remembered. It's as if the floor is whispering secrets, and JaeJu can't help but feel a hint of anticipation about what awaits him. As JaeJu explores the 10th floor, he witnesses a curious scene. A commoner girl accidentally bumps into a noble who treats her with unexpected gentleness. According to JaeJu's knowledge, such an encounter could result in severe punishment for the commoner. This surprising display of kindness makes him question the usual rules he's accustomed to. JaeJu learns that the ruler of Estrode is Emperor Prince Kaoli, where merit outweighs noble birthright. This revelation leaves him stunned, prompting him to seek out someone who can provide answers. He soon finds an old man feeding pigeons near a fountain. To JaeJu's surprise, the old man is actually the admin of the floor. The admin reveals that he has been in his position for so long that he has lost all emotional connection and even forgotten why he took on the role in the first place. JaeJu recalls from the videos that the other version of himself had met the admin on the 10th floor and accepted the offer to become the new admin. This previous JaeJu then sent the videos of the tower back to his past self for reasons unknown. In the present moment, JaeJu asks the admin what he's thinking. The admin, with an odd look in his eyes, suddenly transports JaeJu into a vision. JaeJu, now in a bewildering new setting, reflects on how he was just conversing with the admin and is now plunged into this vision. As he surveys his surroundings, JaeJu realizes he's in Taruha, the ruined location of the 15th floor trial. This once thriving place has fallen to demonic monsters, each one so powerful that they wouldn't even flinch from attacks by typical 15th floor users. The sheer number of these monstrous foes makes the challenge ahead seem almost insurmountable. An army is currently locked in combat with the monsters, but it's clear the monsters have the upper hand. It is revealed that none of the warriors will actually die, but that's not the end of the story. On the 15th floor, there's no such thing as an end. Demonic monsters keep emerging endlessly from the heart of the chaos. It's a nightmare that will persist until the fall of Taruha. And even when death inevitably comes, the nightmare doesn't end. It just keeps going like an infomercial that never stops playing. The vision also shows JaeJu that he will encounter his end during a monster attack on the 15th floor. Suddenly, JaeJu finds himself back in the garden. The administrator, with a grin that suggests he's enjoying a secret joke, asks JaeJu how it feels to see his destiny. JaeJu, still trying to wrap his head around everything, responds that no matter how much the admin plays tricks with him, it won't change his decision. The administrator, looking genuinely puzzled, wonders what JaeJu means by playing tricks, insisting he was simply giving him a peek into his future. JaeJu tells the administrator that he's already altered the future the admin showed him last time. He figures the admin should be aware of this since he's always watching. The administrator, with a raised eyebrow, responds that JaeJu knew he was watching. He adds that this is exactly why he needs to be an administrator. Clearly, watching people's futures and keeping track of their changes is a full-time job. JaeJu counters that he's not the same as the JaeJu in those videos. The administrator then asks if JaeJu knows why those videos were sent to him. JaeJu replies that he doesn't, but he's still going to decline the offer to become an administrator. He'd rather face the trials head-on and deal with the threats himself. As the administrator grabs a pigeon by the neck, he asks JaeJu if he's not curious about the reason behind the videos. If he is, the admin offers to spill the beans. JaeJu, finding the idea of staying in the dark less appealing than knowing, tells him to go ahead. It's definitely better than wandering through life like a cat chasing his own tail. While releasing the pigeon, the administrator asks JaeJu if he's ever pondered what it really means to be an administrator. It seems he's in the mood to drop philosophical bombs, all while giving a poor pigeon a bit of an unintentional scare. JaeJu responds that, as the name suggests, an administrator is someone who watches and manages the tower. The administrator then asks, what about the world of Estrode? Does JaeJu think it was created merely for the user's entertainment? JaeJu ponders this and reflects that if he had believed the world on the 5th floor was just a fabricated show, he wouldn't have bothered playing the role of the prince. He would have simply taken Lee San-jae's neck off without a second thought. The administrator then embarks on a lengthy monologue of strange philosophies for an entire hour. He vents his frustrations, admitting that all he knows is his sense of duty. He describes himself as a ticking clock, spinning endlessly without making any real progress. Despite his efforts to fix the twisted world of Estrode, complexity drove him to frustration, leaving him feeling like he accomplished nothing. He believes JaeJu has the potential to succeed where he failed. By making Kaoli the emperor, JaeJu has achieved what the admin could not on the 5th floor. That's why the admin is so eager for JaeJu to take on the role of the new admin, to finally make Estrode a better place and give the old admin's clock a new, meaningful tick-tock. Even though the admin believes he has long lost his emotions, his frustration is palpable as he discusses his failures with JaeJu. He explains that every admin before him also went mad from their failures. They chose successors and then took their own lives, unable to bear their despair. The JaeJu from the videos have managed to achieve the most out of all the administrators, but the JaeJu currently in the tower has his own agenda. With a defiant gesture, he flips off the administrator and firmly declines the offer. He adds a few choice words to his refusal, making it clear that he has no intention of joining the ranks of those who've had their own existential crisis. In response, the admin transforms into a pigeon and flies away, perhaps as a symbolic nod to his own freedom, or maybe just as a graceful exit. JaeJu decides that the best way to uncover the reasons behind everything is to climb the tower himself. As he sets his sights on this quest, the real identity of Kim JaeJu's biggest fan is revealed. It turns out that the love is none other than a girl named Kang Soha. She's harboring a serious case of jealousy, especially towards Jin Haein, who seems to be trying to flirt with JaeJu. It's like a dramatic love triangle, only with a lot more climbing and fewer romantic dinners. Meanwhile, JaeJu decides to fire up his stream again, but he opts out of having it appear on the trending list. As he checks in, he notices that most of his followers are still around, and it dawns on him that they're all above the 20th floor. He greets his viewers with a warm welcome, only to be bombarded with over 250 messages. It seems the floodgates have opened with friend and clan invites. JaeJu, overwhelmed and not in the mood to join any clans just yet, decides to leave the invites unanswered. He realizes that with a fresh batch of new players tuning in, it's a perfect opportunity to change his channel. This way, he can avoid the clamor of those eager to catch his attention. JaeJu notices that after the channel change, there are no useful magic engineering items in the market. So he heads over to the Magic Engineering Workshop, the main hub of the Empire's magic engineering industry. To his surprise, Bran isn't there. Instead, the shop is run by Cray, who greets JaeJu with a friendly nod. JaeJu asks for Bran, and Cray tells him that Bran has become the Royal Magic Engineer, and he is right now at the Royal Mansion. JaeJu then mentions that he needs his glove repaired. Cray, with a confident smile and perhaps a touch of pride, assures him that he can handle the repair. Meanwhile, JaeJu plans to visit the real auction house to buy some magic stones. This place is known for being the go-to spot for the wealthy, as opposed to the free auction house where lower-quality goods are traded. At the real auction house, JaeJu won't be able to inspect the items up close and will have to rely solely on appearances. As he heads there, a fellow player, who happens to be a knight, stops him. The knight warns JaeJu that he won't be allowed entry to the real auction house, even if he offers 10,000 coins. It seems the gates to high society are guarded with more than just a hefty price tag. There's a hint of exclusivity that JaeJu will need to navigate. The knight, mistaking JaeJu for a mage because of the robe he acquired from Jin Haein, offers him a spot on his team. However, JaeJu politely declines, insisting he'll manage just fine on his own. The knight's girlfriend, who seems to be tagging along as his backup or possibly his better half, also tries to persuade JaeJu to join them. JaeJu, unfazed and still set on his own path, waves them off and continues toward the auction house. Armed with over 40,000 coins, JaeJu arrives at the auction house, and to everyone's surprise, including the knight and his girlfriend, the guards let him in without a hitch. It's almost like watching a VIP pass through the ropes at a concert, leaving the knight and his companion in stunned amazement. At the far edge of the border, Selena in the auction house is his posh. JaeJu is asked to verify his identity at the reception desk, but his name isn't recognized until he adds a 2 at the end of it. This little twist brings a chuckle from his viewers, who are clearly enjoying the unexpected turn of events. JaeJu heads to the waiting lounge, where he spots Lee Se and decides to join her at her table. However, the atmosphere quickly becomes awkward, as neither of them says a word. It's like being stuck in an elevator with someone you don't know well, plenty of space, but a distinct lack of conversation. Lee Se breaks the silence by thanking JaeJu for the level 6. Curious about her choice of attire, JaeJu asks her why she's wearing a uniform. She explains that the outfit holds sentimental value for her, so he decides not to pry further. Instead, JaeJu sends her a friend request, which she accepts. It's a practical move that benefits both of them, like trading tips with a fellow gamer. Lee Se, however, is intrigued by JaeJu's friendship with the pupboy. She can't help but ask about it, clearly eager to know what's behind this peculiar alliance. It's like she's trying to uncover the secret recipe behind JaeJu's mysterious social circle. JaeJu tells Lee Se that his friendship with the pupboy is a trade secret, which leaves her both shocked and a bit miffed. The auction begins, and they head to the auction room. As the auction progresses, JaeJu barely glances at the items on display. However, his attention is grabbed by a special item, a necklace featuring a large red crystal, once owned by a royal princess. Recognizing it as the blood magic stone he's been searching for, JaeJu decides to place a bid on it, starting at the modest price of 10,000 coins. The viewers are stunned and start calling JaeJu crazy for bidding on an unknown gemstone. As if the drama needed an extra twist, another bidder enters the fray. A young noblewoman named Gray telephones. She gives JaeJu a confident wink, clearly ready for a bidding war. The auction heats up and JaeJu decides to bow out once the bid reaches 20,000 coins. Just as he steps back, Lee Se-ha jumps into the competition, battling fiercely with the noblewoman. In the end, Lee Se-ha emerges victorious, securing the bloodstone for a jaw-dropping 30,000 coins. She flashes a smug smile at her competition, as if to say, "Better luck next time, dear." JaeJu manages to find a decent magic stone priced at 6,000 coins, which is a small win considering the high stakes of the auction. As he exits the establishment, he notices that Lee Se-ha is waiting for him by the gate. To his surprise, she hands him the necklace she bought, offering it as a gift. JaeJu is puzzled by her gesture, not quite understanding why she would give him such an expensive item. Lee Se-ha explains that she knew he was looking for a magic stone and decided to get it for him since they are friends. She adds that friends buy gifts for each other, even if it means making her feel a bit awkward and shy. Before JaeJu can properly thank her, she slips away, leaving him with a mix of gratitude and confusion. It's like she's made a grand exit in a play, just as the curtain is about to rise. JaeJu is completely puzzled by why Lee Se-ha would gift him something so expensive. Little does he know, her intentions are as pure as freshly fallen snow. She thinks JaeJu is completely unaware of their past interaction that holds significant meaning for her. It's almost as if she's operating on a whole different level of emotional depth, while JaeJu is just trying to figure out why someone would splurge on a gift like that. Years ago, as a child in an orphanage, Lee Se-ha had griped about how expensive school uniforms were. She had just started at a new school and found there were no hand-me-down uniforms available. Then, a generous man stepped in and paid for all the students' uniforms that year. Unbeknownst to JaeJu, he was the very man who had helped the orphanage. He had come back to support it, and Lee Se-ha had only briefly crossed paths with him, where he had kindly advised her to be a good girl. Thanks to his generosity, she received a new uniform, and she has never forgotten the kindness he showed. Even if he doesn't remember their encounter, she feels content as long as she can return the favor and be useful to him in some way. It's like she's been holding onto a tiny piece of gratitude, ready to pay it forward whenever the opportunity arises. JaeJu heads over to Cray's workshop and is pleasantly surprised to find his glove has been given a high-tech makeover. It now looks like something out of a sci-fi movie, sleek, comfortable, and easier to use than ever. Cray has even added some cool features like the ability to handle magic stones of various sizes and the option to insert and eject them with the press of a button. JaeJu feels like he's one step away from becoming the next Thanos, minus the universe-ending ambitions, of course. JaeJu is over the moon with how much better the glove feels, as if it's been pampered at a luxury spa. However, when he tries to pay Cray for the upgrades, it's like trying to bribe a cat with catnip. Cray just won't take the money. It seems that Cray has a strict policy of no payment accepted, only magic engineering appreciation, and JaeJu is left chuckling at the generosity of it all. The magic engineer cheerfully explains that he had so much fun working on the glove that he can't possibly tank the experience by taking money for it. Instead, he only asks JaeJu for one thing, to promise that he'll give this extraordinary weapon a fitting name. It's as if Cray believes the glove deserves a grand title worthy of its newfound awesomeness, like the Glove of Infinite Awesomeness or the Hand of Fate. The next morning, JaeJu wakes up to the growls of his hungry pup-boy. After feeding them the magic stone he bought from the auction, he opens the stream with grand plans to visit the 11th floor as soon as possible. He reaches the portal, which is out in the open but protected by magic, making it invisible and inaccessible to common folks. Viewers advise JaeJu to partner with someone for the 11th floor since team trials are now a thing. JaeJu, always the lone wolf, prefers to go solo and partner up with random people instead. He originally wants to take along the people who have supported him since level 1, but he realizes the difficulty might be rigged. Instead of helping, he might end up causing them harm. Better to go solo and keep the chaos to himself. JaeJu gets the option to select the difficulty again and with a smirk, chooses the high difficulty. He steps through the portal and finds himself on an island where two people are quarreling. There's a boy and a girl, both night engine types, clearly betting and hoping they don't have to face some mighty monster. The girl looks at JaeJu and remarks that since he's wearing a robe, he must be a mage. JaeJu greets them with a casual hello. The man invites him over for a conversation. Meanwhile, JaeJu notices their weapons and realizes one of the knights is a dual wielder and the other is a spear user. He guesses they must be thrilled to see someone in mage's attire. Pointing at his glove, the man asks if it's a gauntlet and if JaeJu is a mage. JaeJu replies with a no, realizing they've misunderstood him because of his robe. With a hint of amusement, he clarifies that he is actually a mage engineer. The man is shocked to hear this and struggles to understand why anyone would be a magic engineer in this world. The girl, chuckling nervously, apologizes for the confusion. She then asks JaeJu how many tools he has that can support them, mentioning that she has heard magic engineers can carry up to 20. JaeJu, ever the minimalist, tells her he has only one tool. The girl sighs, resigned to their situation, and says, well, it can't be helped. JaeJu can't help but think that sometimes less is more, especially when the one tool you have is really cool. Meanwhile, JaeJu realizes that the trial should be starting soon, and he is right. The trial is about to begin. The sea waves start rumbling, and the man nervously hopes isn't going to be 10 sea serpents. Just as they brace themselves, two enormous eyes of a monster emerge from the sea. Looking at those eyes, JaeJu remarks that they seem somewhat familiar. As the monster reveals itself, it turns out to be a turtle dragon. Both the man and the girl are shocked, as they never expected to see a turtle dragon here. However, JaeJu remains as calm as the sea. He reflects that he doesn't need to attract unnecessary attention by using his gloves, considering this task to be as easy as cutting a cake. JaeJu then tells them to move aside, assuring them that he'll handle it on his own. This leaves both the man and the girl stunned, wondering if they have just encountered the most nonchalant hero in existence. The man tries to argue with JaeJu, but it's clear JaeJu is not in a mood to be messed with. He takes out his axe, and as the turtle dragon growls, JaeJu quickly tells the girl that there's no time to explain. He demands that they stay back if they don't want to meet an untimely end. As the turtle dragon breathes fire, both the man and the girl start running like kids in the street, avoiding a charging bull. JaeJu guesses that the two are unintentionally acting as bait. Seizing the opportunity as the turtle dragon is distracted, JaeJu rushes at it, his axe glowing with mana. He attacks with full force. However, just as his axe strikes the turtle dragon's skin, it breaks apart. JaeJu quickly assesses that the axe wasn't durable enough. Without missing a beat, he uses his gloves to restore the axe, muttering to himself about the quality of medieval weapons these days. Meanwhile, the turtle dragon starts glowing with green mana, as if it just found a new power-up. Without wasting any more time, JaeJu rushes at the turtle dragon again. He realizes that he needs to use all his strength to climb on top of it. With a calculated move, he gets on the turtle dragon's back and breaks off a spike. JaeJu then jumps up, infusing the spike with magic power. With the precision of a seasoned baseball player, he swings the spike straight at the exposed neck of the turtle dragon, thinking that his high school baseball coach would be proud. The spike hits its mark, delivering a powerful blow to the turtle dragon. The spike explodes and the turtle meets his untimely end. JaeJu stands victorious, probably wondering if there's a baseball league for magical knights. The trial is cleared, and the knights are thankful to JaeJu and want to add him as a friend, but instead he tells them to leave, and then they both rush to portal and leave abruptly. Clearing each floor from now on opens two portals, one to higher floors and one back to the 10th floor. JaeJu checks his rewards for clearing the 11th floor and is somewhat disappointed to find he has only received normal rewards. He then decides to check his gift box from the 9th floor that he still hasn't opened. Surprisingly, the rewards from the 9th floor turn out to be impressive. JaeJu receives Luntoto's coat, a fine piece of gear offering higher defense. When he tries it on, it hangs on him like a tent, clearly made for someone twice his size. But JaeJu isn't fazed. He knows exactly what to do. With a few swift adjustments, he customizes the coat's shape and design to suit his style perfectly. Saving the world is important, but doing it with a flair for fashion is essential. After all, even heroes need to be trendsetters. With his new and stylishly tailored coat, JaeJu plans his next move. He decides to return to the 10th floor and give the level another go, aiming for a better reward this time. After all, if at first you don't succeed, accessorize and try again. Back on the 10th floor, JaeJu decides it's finally time to name his 3 pupoi. His viewers, ever eager to contribute, flood the chat with a barrage of bizarre and often downright weird suggestions. These range from Popoi 1, 2, 3 to Pozun, Podal, and Posuk, sparking a few chuckles from JaeJu. Politely ignoring the more outrageous ideas, JaeJu turns his attention to the marketplace. He chooses to invest in more skill books about magical beasts. As entertaining as Popoi 1, 2, 3 might be, he knows that having well-named and well-trained Popoi will be far more useful in the trials ahead. After studying the books, JaeJu gains a deeper understanding of his Popoi and finally settles on their names. He chooses to honor the gods of Estrode, naming them with great care. The first is Laha, after the goddess of affection Polaha. The second is Kodin, named for the god of bravery Raskodin. The third is Baron, in tribute to the goddess of wisdom Tabarin. With these names, JaeJu feels his Popoi are not just pets, they're practically divine sidekicks. He can't help but smile at the thought of having a trio of celestial helpers. If anyone thought he was just a regular magic engineer, they'd be in for a divine surprise. The viewers delight in the new names, and JaeJu realizes he's been getting a bit too relaxed with the Popoi in front of the audience. Deciding it's time to be more cautious, he puts the pupoid back in his bag, resolving to keep them out of sight until he clears level 15. A twinge of guilt nags at him for stashing them away, but his new skills and deeper understanding of the pupoi offer reassurance. With renewed determination, JaeJu heads to the 12th floor, another team trial involving 4 participants. He soon finds 2 of his teammates, a knight and an assassin. The duo appears to be either a well-coordinated team or lovebirds on an adventure, with the knight looking gallant and the assassin, well, looking suspiciously cozy for someone in their line of work. JaeJu can't help but wonder if their battle strategy includes romantic serenades. But the third member is someone who followed JaeJu on his journey from levels 1 to 9. This enthusiastic boy named Jung Sangjong calls JaeJu the emperor and kneels before him. JaeJu quickly scares him into behaving normally, but Sangjong continues to make mistakes and excessively hypes up JaeJu in front of the other 2 teammates. The viewers suspect that Sangjong is doing most of it on purpose to embarrass JaeJu. He is more bothered by his viewers making fun of him than by Sangjong's antics. JaeJu can't help but think that having a fanboy might be more challenging than facing a turtle dragon. JaeJu tells the pair of knight and assassin that he knows Sangjong from the 11th floor and asks more about them. They explain they are not in a clan and have turned off their streams because both their clans and streaming platforms were not supportive. JaeJu understands that without advice or support, it would be difficult for them to clear the 12th level on their own. Turning to Sangjong, JaeJu asks about his journey. Sangjong shares that he was stuck on the 10th floor for a long time but then discovered JaeJu's stream. He donated coins to JaeJu and was handsomely rewarded. Using that money, he bought good equipment and managed to clear more floors. JaeJu can't help but chuckle, thinking that his stream isn't just entertainment, it's practically a career booster for fellow adventurers. JaeJu suggests that Sangjong should devise the strategy since he had cleared the 12th floor before. The knight is shocked to learn that JaeJu is a magic engineer, but the situation is somehow calmed by his partner. Sangjong lays down the plan, warning the others that the enemies are intelligent monsters that can learn about their attack patterns, so relying solely on skills wouldn't be wise. The knight gets angry and JaeJu realizes it could be tough managing a team like this. But before they can argue further, the trial starts and the enemies are revealed to be Yetis. JaeJu thinks to himself that dealing with temperamental teammates and cunning Yetis simultaneously should make for an interesting day. JaeJu and Sangjong plan to take the front while the other 2 support from the back. However, the knight underestimates the Yetis and charges at their boss with his spear. Sangjong looks concerned, but JaeJu decides not to intervene unless absolutely necessary. He believes that people who ignore warnings must face the consequences to learn and grow. As the knight gets closer to the leader of the Yetis, he suddenly freezes in his tracks, intimidated by the Yeti's aura. JaeJu watches, thinking that sometimes the best lessons are taught by scary furry teachers. But the knight knows he can't look bad in front of his girl and the 2 strangers. The Yeti boss says something to him, and JaeJu catches only one word in the speech, yet he understands the sentiment. JaeJu knows that Yeti leaders fight fiercely to prove they're not too old to lead, igniting their fighting spirits to the max. This Yeti boss is no different. JaeJu watches the scene unfold, thinking that it's like a motivational pep talk, only given by a giant hairy creature with a roar that could knock over trees. The knight swings his spear at the Yeti boss, who easily dodges the attack. Desperate, the knight decides to use a skill that would blind the Yeti, giving him a clear shot. However, even with its eyes closed, the Yeti does something unexpected, causing the knight to miss his aim entirely. As the Yeti raises its fist to hit the knight, he yells. Sangjong is genuinely terrified for his life, but just as the Yeti's fist is about to connect, JaeJu swoops in to save him. With swift, precise moves, JaeJu makes quick work of the Yeti leader. JaeJu can't help but think heroic interventions. 1. Embarrassing blunders. 0. Meanwhile, the knight silently vows never to underestimate a giant furry motivational speaker again. With their leader dead, the morale of the other Yetis falls and JaeJu quickly defeats all of them. The assassin and Sangjong thank him, while the knight is too embarrassed to speak. They believe that JaeJu has cleared up to the 19th floor, which explains why Sangjong respects him so much. The knight, trying to regain some composure, asks JaeJu what the Yeti leader meant by the word he yelled. JaeJu explains that the word meant child in the Yeti language. The knight, red-faced from embarrassment, runs away with his girlfriend chasing after him. Sangjong also says that he would head out first. JaeJu, curious, asks if Sangjong had seen him from floor 1. Sangjong confirms it. JaeJu thanks him for watching and supporting him. Sangjong turns back and says he should be the one thanking JaeJu. He kneels and wishes great luck on the Emperor. What he does next shocks JaeJu out of his mind. While kneeling, Sangjong suddenly jumps up into the portal, yelling "Popoi" loudly. It turns out Sangjong had seen JaeJu from the first floor and knew all about what the other viewers called his dark and embarrassing history. By acting like JaeJu did back then, Sangjong was clearly messing around, causing all the viewers to burst out laughing. JaeJu is shocked for a moment but quickly calms down. He checks the rewards for the floor and finds them to be average. JaeJu thinks it's fair since the difficulty was ordinary too. Deciding to avoid any more run-ins with people who knew him like Sangjong did, he changes the channel to America. Time to reinvent himself as the mysterious magic engineer, American edition. Maybe he'll appreciate his style without the first floor fiasco flashbacks. Afterward, JaeJu heads to the 13th floor, which is covered in a snowy terrain. This trial involves 8 people, but 6 are already there. They seem quite welcoming, acting as if they don't know each other. JaeJu knows exactly who they are and decides to play along. They belong to an evil clan called Black Scorpion, notorious for using various dirty tricks to loot innocent players who team up with them. JaeJu recalls that these scoundrels often make mistakes on purpose and then demand compensation from other players for the damage they take. In some cases, they went as far as killing weaker players after stripping them of their money and equipment, leaving them as defenseless as a chicken in a fox's den. The Black Scorpion clan welcomes JaeJu with open arms even after discovering he's a magic engineer. For them, he's just easy prey like a mouse walking into a cat convention. Just as JaeJu starts getting comfortable in this icy charade, the final participant stumbles in clearly worse for wear. The poor soul bears the marks of a recent mugging, courtesy of another gang of thugs on the 12th floor. JaeJu's viewers can't help but feel a pang of sympathy for this unfortunate soul. Running into criminals on 2 consecutive levels is the kind of luck that makes one consider staying in bed with a good book. The viewers shake their heads, wondering if this guy has a Mug Me sign taped to his back. And that was it for today. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's like goal is 1,500 likes. Comment part 2 down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. You can also join the channel to support me financially and watch videos before public release. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.